I pull a soft throw over my knees. A small lamp glows in the corner. The light leans warm against the pages. I settle into the hush of the room. The air smells faintly of chamomile. Every movement slows. Breath lengthens. I open the Bible and let my fingers rest on the paper. The edges are familiar. The spine gives a quiet little sigh in the silence. Words seem to breathe with the room. I lower my voice, so it becomes part of the quiet. I read not to teach, but to soothe. The reading is gentle, like a river finding the shore. I begin with words of comfort. The psalm speaks of rest and safe pastures. I speak them slowly. Images form from the language. A green field appears in the mind. A stream runs clear. Shade cools weary skin. The sense of presence settles like dusk. The scenes do not demand thought. They invite simple watching. I move to a passage that remembers mercy. The message is simple and soft. It pairs well with the night. Mercy feels like a warm blanket. It holds without tightness. It allows breathing. The promise is steady, not flashy. It asks for no answer. It stands as an assurance. I pause between sections. Each pause is a small place to breathe. A slow footstep on a path. A cup set down on a table. The pauses give room for feelings to rest. They keep the reading calm. They make the words land gently. I choose a short story of a traveler who finds a light in a dark place. The traveler does not fight the dark with harshness. The traveler accepts a guiding light. That light shows a single step at a time. The traveler moves slowly, trusting the step that comes next. I speak this in a voice that does not hurry. The words fall like soft leaves. Images help the heart relax. I describe a sky where stars lean close. Each one small and patient. A single lantern sways on a porch, steady in a mild breeze. I talk about hands folded in rest and a face softened by relief. These pictures do not press for meaning. They simply sit with the listener and invite rest. I read a line that reflects on forgiveness as an evening tide. It comes in and quietly smooths the shore. Old footprints fade under the gentle water. Stiff worry becomes more pliant. There is no need for long explanations. The tide comes, and it is enough. The heart adjusts to the rhythm. I remind the listener about a shepherd who is present in the night. The shepherd walks close and knows the sound of every step. The promise is not a loud triumph. It is a steady presence. The watchfulness is calm. It carries a trust that nothing sharp will strike in the dark. I sit with a passage about peace that exceeds simple calm. It is deeper than ease. It is a peace that holds the whole body and mind. It steadies breath and softens thought. It is not achievement. It is reception. The listener is invited to lay down concerns like a coat at the door. The reading is soft, but clear. I do not rush the phrases. Each sentence is a step across a wide room. There is no stumble. I let the listener rest on each small phrase. The pace is slow enough that the eyes can close and the mind can follow at its own speed. The small interlude follows, where I speak of rest as an act of trust. Rest is not escape. Rest is acceptance that care exists outside of effort. I encourage a quiet handing over of the day's weight. The action is simple. Set the hand down. Feel the hand that takes it. No force. Only willingness. I paint a gentle scene of morning that will come after the night. Dawn is not rushed in this telling. It arrives with soft color, like a watercolor spreading across a page. Hope here is steady, not dramatic. The day will have its light in time. For now, the body is invited to regenerate beneath the quiet. The reading moves to a promise that mercy renews at morning. Each day is a clean page. This idea is built like a small hearth. It glows without heat that burns. The heart warms, but it does not flare. Confidence grows slowly like ivy on a wall. The growth feels natural and slow, fitting the night's tempo. I include a short reflective moment on gratitude as a small lantern. Gratitude need not be large. A single thankful breath can change the tone of the night. The thought sits like a little firefly. It lights a tiny patch of shadow and makes the rest manageable. Naming one small gift is enough to shift the mood. I keep language plain. The words are like simple tools. A lamp, a blanket, a steady hand. Each tool has a clear purpose. They offer comfort without an argument. Simple images work best for ears that tire at length. They let the soul receive rather than analyze. A short passage about rest being a gift comes next. The concept is quiet and kind. There is no pressure to feel anything dramatic. The gift is small and faithful. Accepting it does not require proving worth. It requires only opening the hands and letting the softness settle. I guide a breathing rhythm as part of the reading. I speak slowly, counting small breaths. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Each exhale lets a little tension go. The pattern is like waves arriving, then retreating. Tension leaves in small measures. The rhythm becomes a companion to the words. Light, imagined and real, features often in the reading. It is not blinding. It is a near light, like a candle set on a bedside table. That light draws the edges into a softer focus. Shapes hold, but edges blur. The mind rests in the softened scene. I read a short piece about hope as patient waiting. Hope does not push. It watches with calm expectation. It is like a gardener who knows the seed will sprout in its season. The waiting is accompanied by care, water, gentle tending, and time. The heart learns to be patient without losing warmth. The voice continues in a low cadence. It becomes part of the room. The listener's breathing matches. The eyelids grow heavier. The thoughts lose their sharp angles and soften. The world compresses into this small, safe circle of light and sound. I close this part of the reading with a brief blessing. The words are simple. They ask for rest that heals. They ask for mercy to be felt like a warm cloak. They ask for hope to be a quiet companion. No grand promises. Only presence. Only care. I lay a hand on the closed book for a moment. The room holds the quiet outside. The night moves, as it always does. Crickets or distant traffic make the small, steady music of the evening. Inside, the breathing is calm, the skin relaxes, muscles release their small grips. Before leaving, a gentle reminder settles in the voice. Sleep is not a disappearance. It is a continuation of care, in a different form. The heart remains held. The promises read tonight remain. They do not depend on feelings. They rest like a foundation. Let the mind lean on that foundation now. I stand slowly. The lamp is dimmed, just a touch more. The book tucks away on the shelf. The room keeps its soft shape. The last sound is a low phrase of assurance, like the closing of a gate that keeps the night safe. The evening carries a holy quiet. Rest now. Let the breath find its gentle pace. Allow the mind to slip into that soft place where images fade into sleep. The care that was read stays near. It will watch until morning light. I will be here in story and prayer. When the night comes round again, sleep in peace. Carried by mercy and hope, I open the book again, careful not to startle the quiet. The cover slips under my hand like a familiar pet. Pages turn with a soft hush. I do not hurry. My voice settles into the room like a slow tide. Tonight I read a passage that leans toward mercy and rest. The words are simple when spoken aloud. They lay a gentle map across the night. Each phrase becomes a soft foothold. The cadence is slow. The sentences have room to be carried. A small practice follows the reading. I ask the listener to place one hand over the heart. Feeling is important. The hand rests there like a friendly stone. The warmth is real. It anchors the breath. In this quiet, the chest expands gently, then releases. The rhythm is steady and kind. I guide a body scan next. Start at the toes. Notice any tightness. Breathe into it. Let the feet soften. Move the attention to the calves. Unwind. Hips release like a door, easing on its hinges. The belly drifts with the breath. Shoulders slide down away from the ears. The jaw loosens. The whole face lets go. Each small release is like a knot loosening in a thread. No rush, just ease. There is a passage I like to return to. It speaks of help that comes in stillness. I do not recite it word for word. Instead, I draw out the sense. A calm hand reaches forward. It does not snatch or demand. It steadies. It allows the next step to be seen clearly. That presence matters more than answers. The night receives that steadying more than any explanation. Outside, the world hums in low tones. A car moves far away. A window closes. The city breathes in muffled patterns. Those sounds gather into a familiar background. They do not intrude. They remind that life continues around this small circle of light. Inside, the sound of pages, and my voice fill the room like a soft lamp. Images are quiet and specific. Picture a small harbor at dusk. Boats rest with sails furled. Lanterns hang low and steady. Water cradles the hulls without fuss. The sky leans toward deep blue. Not black yet. The air tastes faintly of salt and wood. That harbor is a safe pause. It allows time for breathing without the need for hurry. I speak of forgiveness with a new image. Imagine a window that has been closed for a long time. Dust lies on the sill. Someone opens that window slowly. Air moves through and clears the room. Light enters and shows the corners without harshness. Freshness arrives. And with it, a sense that things sheltered in darkness can breathe again. This opening does not erase memory. It simply lets new air move through what feels stale. Grace comes across like a weight lifted from a ledge. Not a dramatic vanishing, just the relief that a hand has taken a small burden. The chest expands. The shoulders ease forward. The mind blinks as if waking from a nap. There is no demand for proofs, only the steady reminder that help exists. I encourage the listener to name one small relief from the day. It might be a warm cup, a friendly word, a moment of quiet. Speak it softly in the mind. Let that one thing sit like a small candle in the center of the chest. It does not have to be grand. The candle shifts the darkness just enough to change the way the room feels. Another moment follows that leans into hope without pressure. Hope here is like a seed kept in a cool, dark place. It does not scream for attention. It waits in patient trust. Water and light arrive at the right time. The seed does not rush. It grows in its season. Holding hope looks like tending rather than forcing. I read a short part that points to rest as permission. Permission to stop striving. Permission to let control soften. The idea is not novel or flashy. It is like being allowed to set down a heavy pack on the side of the road and sit for a while. The body appreciates the relief. The soul loosens its grip on the steering wheel. There is a gentle invitation to hand over worry in small pieces. No need to lay down an entire mountain. Offer one pebble at a time. Each pebble placed down becomes lighter. The motion is simple. Unclench the fingers. Let it go. Feel the space where the pebble sat. Notice the relief. Breathwork returns, but in a very soft shape. Inhale for a slow count of 3. Hold for 2. Exhale for 4. The rhythm is like a gentle wind through reeds. Each exhale lets a little more tension go. Time stretches between breaths. The pauses between phrases become safe places to rest. Songs of assurance thread through the reading without becoming strict instruction. They are more like soft refrains. A phrase about care keeps returning in different words. Care is steady. It is not loud. It is like a lighthouse that cuts a thin line across water. The light is trustworthy. It does not need to scream to be seen. I guide a brief imagining of morning. Not a rush of sunrise, more like the first soft light that slips under curtains. It finds the place where the bed has been worn into shape. It warms a cheek. It brings a small, steady brightness. The day that follows will have small tasks. It will also carry unexpected mercy. For now, the morning is simply a promise that the slow turning of time continues. There is a quiet reflection on the habit of returning. Nights come and go. This practice of opening the book, breathing, and resting becomes a pattern. Patterns feel safe. They build a small room of refuge in the mind. The body learns the routine. The heart takes comfort in the predictability. It is a gentle discipline, not a harsh rule. I remind the listener that being human includes seasons of strain. No one moves through life without weight. The invitation is simple. Hand over what can be handed. Receive what can be received. The rest that follows is not a final solution. It is part of a journey. The night gives space for repair. The morning brings new chances. A short prayer rises without grand language. It asks for calm breath, for a heart that can let go, for mercy that stays close through the dark hours. The words are small and personal. They do not debate or explain. They simply place trust in care that holds through sleep. Before closing, I offer a small guided picture to take into sleep. Imagine a long, slow river. It moves without hurry. Leaves float on the surface. The current carries each leaf gently onward. You are one of those leaves. No need to cling to the bank. The river knows the way. Rest into that movement. The pages close with a soft sound. The lamp dims to a thin glow. The room keeps the edges, but allows the middle to soften. Eyes grow heavy. The breath finds a slower rhythm. Muscles continue to unwind. I promise to return to this quiet, night after night. The reading will be the same kind of soft company. There is comfort in the repetition. There is grace in the small sameness. For now, let sleep arrive in patient steps. A final blessing finishes the hour. May rest come deep and steady. May mercy sit close like a quiet friend. May hope be small and sure. The voice drops, and the last syllables float into the dark. I stand, moving slowly, careful not to break the hush. The lamp dims once more, and then goes. The room rests in a thin pool of memory. Outside, the night keeps its slow music. Inside, sleep does its gentle work. Go now into the night with that small light. Lean on the calm that has been read. Allow the care to be more than words. Let it become the breath that carries you through till morning. I will be here again, with the book and a quiet voice. When the hour comes round, I turn the page with a slow breath. The paper whispers under my fingers. My voice lowers further so it becomes part of the night. Tonight, I linger on the image of a shepherd. The picture is not loud. It is steady and plain. I do not recite words as a lesson. I paint a scene. Imagine a wide meadow. The grass lies like a soft carpet. Tiny wildflowers lift small faces. Breeze moves through the blades with a quiet sound. That sound becomes a steady hush in the mind. Lie down there. The ground supports the body like a careful hand. The weight of the day settles into the earth and is warmed and held. A gentle scent of hay and clean soil soothes the nose. The sky is a pale, broad bowl overhead. Clouds drift slowly. Unhurried, a shepherd stands nearby. Not distant, not hovering close enough to crowd, just near enough so that the presence is felt without force. The shepherd's steps are calm. The path is known. The shepherd knows each turn and every soft place in the field. There is a staff, worn smooth by years of use. It is not a weapon. It is a tool that points the way and steadies the walk. Water is near, not a rushing torrent, but a clear pool tucked in a hollow. The surface is like glass. It takes the sky's color and holds it gently. Imagine bringing your face close. The cool touches the skin. It stills a burning in the throat. It steadies the pulse. Each sip is like a small repair. The taste is plain and clean. It does not demand anything. It simply refreshes. A shadow from a tree crosses the meadow. The shade is soft and generous. It makes a cool patch for resting, lying there. The sun is warm but not pressing. The skin remembers warmth without strain. Muscles that have held tight begin to loosen. Shoulders slide away from the ears. The jaw softens. Each loosened place sends a small ripple of relief through the whole body. The shepherd moves alongside the edge of the water. Steps are quiet. No rush. The presence is patient. A hand reaches out sometimes to brush a stray wool or to lift a small lamb to its feet. Tenderness shows itself in small acts. Care looks like steady watching and gentle touching. I guide the listening toward the sense of being known, not in the way the world knows by lists and tasks. Rather, known by the pattern of someone who watches, who remembers names, who notices small herds. The knowledge here carries warmth. It says that rest is not earned by effort. It is given because someone keeps watch. Picture the body as a field. Wounds and tired patches exist. The shepherd does not ignore them. The hands move where care is needed. Herbs and simple bandages are used. Nothing dramatic, just slow tending. The balm is not flashy. It seeps in quietly and begins the work of repair. Nerves relax. Tension unwinds. The skin cools where fever had flared. The phrase about leading beside still waters means more than the water itself. It means the handing over of hurry. It means a direction away from frantic noise. Imagine feet that have walked 1,000 uneven roads. The shepherd guides them to a flat place. The step ahead becomes sure. The fear of misplacing the next footfall fades. Let the mind rest on the small details. Watch a dragonfly skim the pool. Listen to a distant bell of a sheepfold. Notice the way the grass bends under a passing foot. These small observations keep the attention gentle. They do not pry into old stories. They simply anchor the present. Breath in slowly now. Fill the belly like a quiet balloon. Hold for a counted beat. Release. Let each exhale be an invitation for the field to take more of the weight. Picture each outgoing breath like a soft cloud leaving the chest. Watch the clouds without judgment. They thin and go. I invite a tiny practice. With the hand resting on the belly, imagine placing one small worry into the open palm. It could be a name, a memory, a small fear. See it as a pebble. Set it down on the grass near the water. Notice that the shepherd bends and picks it up. The motion is gentle. The pebble does not vanish. It is simply carried. A space opens where the pebble lay. The body feels a fraction of lightness. Rest here a while. The sky begins to shift toward evening. Colors dilute into soft pastels. The meadow keeps its calm. A faint chorus of night insects rehearses a single note. The birds quiet. The world does not stall. It changes slowly. Like a clock with wide hands. That pace matches the breathing. No hurry. No pressure. I read a line that says the soul is restored. I do not argue about the soul. I invite the listener to sense renewal like a warmed hand on a chilled limb. Restoration here is small acts, adding up. A moment of clear water, a cool shade, a kind touch, time given to be whole again. It is not sudden. It is steady and sure. Imagine returning to this meadow whenever the night is heavy. The way back is always open. The shepherd does not keep a list of gates and passwords. The path is known and remembered. There is no secret language to earn access. The welcome is plain and ordinary. The senses help build trust. Feel the grass under the back. Hear the steady, low breathing of someone who sleeps nearby. Smell the faint sweetness of clover. Let each sense confirm that care is present. Trust is a small muscle. It strengthens with practice. Let the mind notice one more image. A small flock grazes. Each animal free to find its own patch. The shepherd does not herd with loud command. The shepherd sings a low, steady note. The song is not meant to impress. It is a marker. The flock knows the tone. The tone guides rather than commands. In the same way, rest knows the tone of gentleness and follows. A brief invitation follows for the hands. Place them on the chest now. Feel the heartbeat as it slows. Each beat is a tiny promise that the body is doing its work. No forcing, no extra pushing. The rhythm steadies. Softness grows in the spaces between thoughts. I offer a small exercise in gratitude. Quiet and specific. Name one thing from today that felt like a small kindness. Keep it small. A single cup that warmed cold hands. A door held open. A quiet smile shared. Let that tiny kindness sit in the center of the chest like a warm pebble. Let it radiate heat outward. No need for grand lists. One pebble is enough tonight. The shepherd's gift is not only rest. It is the permission to be human, permission to be slow, permission to be in need, permission to lean without fear of losing worth. These permissions arrive as invitations. No demandes. They arrive in the soft tone of a presence that will not be startled by weakness. I read again in a low voice about guidance and restoration. The words move like a slow thread through the room. Each phrase is placed with care. The cadence is calm. There is room between the phrases for the mind to soften and for the body to accept the ease. If the night carries worry, picture it as weather on the wide plain. Storms can rise, but the shelter remains. Trees bend but do not break. The shepherd moves among the sheltering branches. Storms pass. The meadow dries. The work of repair is gentle. The calm that follows is not fragile. It is a quiet resilience. As sleep approaches, gather the senses into a small bundle. The taste of the last water, the feel of the grass, the sound of the shepherd's step. Carry them inward. Let them become the doorway to rest. I end this part with a short blessing. It is not grand or loud. It asks for the continued presence that tends quietly. It asks for the steady flow of refreshment beside the calm water. It asks for the soul to be eased, little by little, into repair. The book closes with a soft motion. The room holds the picture of the meadow, as if it were a faint glow beneath the eyelids. The breath drifts. The muscles follow. The night does what it must do. Stay in the picture for a few more breaths. When the eyes finally close, know that the path remains. The shepherd walks beside. The water waits. The field receives weight and returns it renewed. Sleep comes like a careful visitor. I rise then, careful and quiet. The lamp is lowered a fraction. The house holds its breath. The last thing spoken drifts into the dark rest. Little by little, and wake in the morning with something mended. I will be here again, with the book and soft words. When the hour returns, I set the Bible open on my lap and let the lamp lean its warm circle over the page. A cool breeze slips in through the cracked window. It moves across the room like a soft hand. I do not hurry the pages. My voice slides down into a low, careful sound. Tonight I keep the reading close to a single promise. The promise speaks of presence and strength. It asks nothing from the listener except to be held. I do not speak the words of a sermon. I read as one who wants to calm a small fear. The passage I trace offers a simple thought: you are not alone. It offers an image of an embrace that is steady and near. The language is spare and sure. It does not demand proof. It asks only for a willing heart to lean in. Picture first a cloak. The cloak is wide and soft. It wraps without squeezing. The fabric is not ornate. It is a plain, durable cloth. When wrapped, shoulders find a quiet weight that steadies. The cloak moves with the body. It keeps the chill away. It does not hide or smother. It welcomes breath and offers warmth. Now imagine an embrace that is like that cloak. The arms that hold are strong but gentle. They do not lift by force. They gather with intent to keep safe. No loud words, no sweeping juras. Just the steady press of presence. That press contains support like an armstead, an unspoken assurance that the next step will not be taken alone. A cool breeze runs by again. It feels like truth moved into the room. It brushes a cheek and reminds the skin that it can relax. The breeze carries small sounds. A neighbor's porch light ticks off a rhythm. Leaves stir. The world keeps its low music. Presence fits into that music, like an instrument held in tune. I guide the listener to a small practice. Place one hand over the chest. Feel the rise and fall. That touch is a quiet anchor. Breathe in slowly. Hold a moment. Breathe out long. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Count in the mind 3 for the in-breath. Pause at 2. Release for 4. The rhythm is soft. It maps an invitation. Trust the beat. The body remembers how to steady itself. Think of strength now as a root. Roots do not show their work in loud demonstrations. They go deep and hold the tree. A root system does its job in quiet weather and in storms. It does not boast about the holding. It simply steadies. Picture being rooted in the same quiet way. The embrace that steadies is not about power for display. It is about roots that hold when the wind tries to pull away. Fear often comes like a small cramp. It tightens around the throat or presses behind the eyes. Imagine that fear as a tiny, knotted thread. See it in the mind as something small and separate from the body. Bring it to the hand that rests on the chest. In your imagination, present that thread to the embracing presence. You do not argue with it. You simply set it down. Watch as the presence accepts it without comment and lays it aside. The knot does not disappear in a flash. It unfurls at its own pace. The hand that receives it holds it gently until it can be undone. There is also the idea of support as a bridge. A bridge spans a gap. It does not replace the river underneath. It simply lets safe steps cross over troubles. Picture a narrow bridge of smooth wood. It creaks a little, but it is strong. Light from a lantern at one end makes a warm patch. The next footfall is steady. The person crossing does not need to leap across. Steps come one at a time. This is the manner of the embrace I read about steady. Step by step. I use quiet images because the ear loves simplicity. The mind is less likely to protest with questions. It leans into pictures that move slowly. A lamp on a table, an open door, a hand placed at the small of the back. An embrace is all of those things at once light. Welcome and guidance. Trusting in care is not a dramatic conversion in a night. Trust grows like moss on a stone. It collects slowly in small, damp places. It takes time to cover the rough edges. The work is patient. The moss does not force itself. It finds a friendly crack and makes a home. Let trust do its modest work now. Give it a night and a breath. I remind the listener that support often comes in plain acts. A steady look rather than a long speech. A cup set down without a question. A hand that meets another hand on a cold morning and holds for a moment. These quiet acts teach what the embrace means. They are small lessons in care. They do not try to overwhelm the mind. They simply teach by being. Breathe again. Slowly. In 3. Pause in 2. Out in 4. Let the exhale take a little more time than the inhale. Each out-breath loosens a bit of the body's tightness. Notice the shoulders. Let them drop. Let the jaw unclench. Feel the weight of the cloak imagined at the shoulders. It does not press to smother. It balances like a friendly weight that keeps one from tipping. If anxiety whispers of failures or worries about tomorrow, give it a small corner of the room. Do not hand it the whole house. Picture the worry as a small paper boat set on a calm pool. The pool is tended. The boat does not capsize. It may drift. The presence that holds you watches the boat with gentle attention. It knows how to keep the water steady. The boat will not be dashed. That is a small mercy in itself. Strength and help are often described with images of hands. Hands lift, steady, and arrange. Imagine an open palm. It holds without closing. It cups rather than grips. The palm invites the little offerings of the day: fatigue, fear, quiet joys, without placing them on a scale to be measured. The invitation is to let the palm hold what comes and not to be afraid that the hand will let go. I read a few lines that point toward courage born of being known. Courage can be small. It can be the quiet acceptance of a new morning. It can be a willingness to try again in the soft light. Being held makes that small courage possible. It does not demand heroics. It allows a tired heart to take the next gentle step. If the mind begins to spin toward how much remains undone, bring it back to one small act of care you have seen today. A neighbor's nod, a warm meal, a moment of silence that felt like understanding. Set that small kindness on the chest with the hand. Let it shine like a tiny coin. Keep it there as proof that care exists in real ways. Proof need not be dramatic to be true. Prayer rises now as a quiet thing. I do not make a show of words. I place a brief, personal request in the mind for strength that is gentle, for presence that does not overwhelm, for a hand to touch where it hurts. The words are small and direct. They do not argue with doubt. They simply place trust where trust seems possible. Picture the embrace again. But this time imagine that it moves when needed. It tightens a little in moments of danger and softens in rest. It is sensitive. It adapts. It is not a rigid rule, but a living care. The living thing knows when to lift and when to let the weight settle. It acts from an attention that notices small shifts in breathing and tone. Rest comes to those who accept an embrace. Rest is not indifference. It is the body learning to stop straining. It is the mind finding that it does not have to solve everything in a single night. Let the acceptance be simple. Lay down one small concern like a coin and move toward sleep. Sleep is a continuation of care in another form. Let the arms imagined cradle the body as the breath slows. I close the book slowly. The lamp is left at a low glow. The cool breeze moves once more through the curtains and brings with it a small, clean scent. The voice finishes with a brief blessing. It asks for steadiness in the dark and gentle courage for the morning. It asks for the knowledge that being held is not a thing to earn. It is a gift to accept. I linger a moment with my hand on the cover. The room holds the hush. The listener's breath softens in my ears. I promise softly to return, to open the pages again and speak the quiet words that remind us of being known. For now, rest in the steady fold of care. Feel the cloak, feel the hands. Know that strength and support are near. I stand quietly and lower the lamp until only a thin halo remains. The house exhales. Outside, the night keeps its small music. Inside, the embrace remains in the mind like a safe harbor. Sleep comes step by step. When morning unfurls, the same steady hand will still be there, ready to steady the first footfall. I will come back to read, to remind, and to hold that small, steady light beside the bed. I turn the page and let my finger settle on a familiar verse. I do not recite it like a lesson. I let it rest like an invitation. The idea is simple. Be kind and forgiving, just as we have been forgiven. The sentence breathes slowly into the room. I speak this thought in a low voice. The words are soft. They do not demand an answer. They offer a small place to set what ache is. Forgiveness often feels big and heavy. It can sit like a bundle on the back. Tonight I invite a different picture. Imagine a small basket by the door. The basket is woven tight and kind. It is not large. It only needs to hold what you can carry tonight. Think of the burden you have brought to bed. Name it in the mind, as one would name an object to be placed in a basket. The name may be short. It might be a single word. Let the thought be as clear and small as possible. It will not be dismissed. It will be held in the weave of the basket. Place the burden there in imagination. Lay it gently. Notice the texture of the item. Is it rough? Like a knot in a rope? Is it heavy and smooth, like a stone warmed by the sun? Observe without judgment. Seeing is a small act of kindness in itself. Forgiveness is not an eraser that denies what happened. It is not a command to forget. It is a calm hand that takes the item from the carries and sets it down. The basket receives. There is no theatrical undoing. There is a quiet trade. Hands that have held too long can open. A space appears where the burden once sat. I guide a breath now. Inhale slowly, counting in 3. Pause in 2. Exhale gently, counting out 4. Let each out-breath be an offering. With each exhale, picture the basket shifting a fraction. The weave steadies. The weight becomes lighter by small degrees. Sometimes forgiveness must begin with forgiving myself. That admission can be tender. It sounds like this. I allowed a small kindness to be withheld from myself today. Or I carried one more thing than I needed to. Those are not confessions, shouted into the dark. They are whispered. Like telling a trusted friend a private truth. Place that sorrow in the basket as well. Do not clutch it to the chest. Let the fingers open. See the hand. Leave the burden in the weave. The basket holds both the hurts given by others and the hurts we have handed ourselves. Imagine now a soft stream that runs close to the path. The basket sits at the edge. A gentle current moves slowly. The stream does not wash away memory. It simply greets what sits by its bank and offers a slow rinsing. Watch a small leaf detach from the bundle and float when the water nudges it. The leaf does not disappear so much as change where it rests. That is the manner of letting go. Forgiveness often means allowing change to the weight. The shape alters. Edges blur. The mind no longer sharpens every corner. The body receives this change. Muscles slack in response. The throat unclenches. A small relief spreads like cool cloth on a fevered cheek. I do not insist on reconciliation. Reconciliation may come later. Or it may not come at all. Forgiveness is a separate offering. It is an inward act. It loosens the chain that binds the heart so the body can sleep. Consider a tiny exercise. Hold the hand at the sternum. Feel the warm press of the palm. Let the fingers speak quietly to the ribs. With each breath, imagine the palm growing a little more capable of holding. Picture it receiving not only the burdens named, but also a gentle mercy. The palm is not a judge. It is a place of rest. If a face or a name presses through the mind, allow that to be part of the picture. See the person as a figure on the path. carrying their own small basket. They, too, have places to put down. Forgiveness does not require forgetting the path that caused pain. Instead, it offers a stop where both can rest. The road is large enough for different steps. A soft thought about mercy comes now. Mercy tends gently. It does not glare or demand a ledger. It is like the hush after rain, when the air smells clean. That hush is not denial. It is space. It invites the heart to stop measuring every fault and to allow healing where wounds have been steady. There is a common fear that forgiving will condone hurt. It will not. The act of letting go does not affirm harm. It refuses to let harm continue to hold power over the bearer. Imagine removing a thorn from a foot. The pull is careful. It does not pretend the thorn was harmless. It simply ends the thing that continues the hurt. The foot can begin to mend. Slow my voice even more. Soft images land like light snow. Snow falls without fuss. It covers rough places with a calm hush. The burden need not be displayed. It becomes part of the quiet landscape. Under that snow, seeds sleep. Under silence, Bornis, relax. A short guided scene follows. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture a small table near a window. The table is low and plain. On it, place the basket you filled earlier. The light from the window is gentle, not sharp. Watch how the light touches the weave. Notice the stillness around the basket. Nothing else demands attention. Now imagine a pair of hands coming into view. These hands are steady. They do not accuse. They lift the basket carefully and carry it toward the window. There is no hurry. The hands set the basket by the sill where the breeze can reach it. The breeze moves through and stirs the leaves in the basket. Threads loosen. A few small pieces drift out and float like feathers. This image is not about performance. It is about watching something held be handed with care. The hands that take the basket do not make a grand show. They simply do what is needed. The witness to that motion is the heart, which learns that handing over can be an act of trust. Allow a moment to feel what shifts. The chest may become a fraction easier. The stomach may unclench. The shoulders slide a little further from the ears. These are small measures of change, but they matter in the quiet. I read a short paraphrase about being kind to one another. Tender-hearted. The thought sits in the room like a low lamp. Kindness is practical. It looks like a neighbor bringing a bowl of soup. It looks like a hand that stays on a shoulder for a long 3 seconds. It looks like silence given in place of a sharp reply. These are the ways forgiveness finds form. Do not rush the healing. Give the night time to do its work. Sleep carries repair in ways the waking mind cannot see. Trust that a tender-hearted gesture made in the mind tonight will seed gentleness in tomorrow's steps. If regret emerges, let it be a teacher, not a jailer. Ask quietly what can be learned. The answer may be small, a different boundary tomorrow. A softer word given earlier. A different rhythm of rest. Learning is not the same as punishment. It is a gentle turning towards something new. A brief prayer rises like a small ember. It asks for help to let go, for courage to forgive where possible, and for mercy to be known when the heart cannot find the way. The prayer carries no demand. It offers a simple request and then rests. I guide the breathing once more. Inhale 3 beats. Pause at 2. Exhale 4 beats. With each round, imagine the basket at the window being lighter. The weave is not empty. It is simply changed. The items are cared for in a way that does not require carrying by the one who wore them the longest. As the reading comes to a close, I place a small blessing on the breath. May the act of letting go be gentle. May forgiveness find a quiet place to start. May the night offer rest for what has been heavy. The words fall softly into the dark. I close the book with a motion slow enough not to disturb the hush. The lamp pulls its light inward. The room holds the fresh image of the basket by the window. Outside, a mild breeze moves leaves in its own careful rhythm. Inside, the body leans toward sleep like a tree leaning toward a calm shore. Stay in that picture a few breaths longer. When the eyes finally close, the basket remains by the sill. The mercy does not disappear. It keeps vigil through the hours. I will return to read again, to open the pages and the heart to small practices that steady and soothe. For now, let the night do its quiet work of repair. Let forgiveness begin. One small, soft placing at a time. The lamp is steady tonight. Its circle of light lays a small harbor on the page. I open the Bible and rest my hand lightly on the paper. The spine offers a soft creak. Like a hinge that remembers, the room is wrapped in quiet. Breath settles into the rhythm of the lamp. I come to a short phrase that has a gentle weight grace that appears and teaches. I do not speak it as a lesson to prove. I read it as a comfort offered in a low voice. The idea holds a patient kindness. It does not shout. It reaches. Grace has the manner of a teacher who does not glare. The teacher leans close and guides a hand over a small task. Imagine a child learning to tie a shoelace. Fingers fumble. Frustration rises. A hand comes, not to do the work, but to show a better loop. The correction is soft. The child tries again. Success comes in tiny measures. This is how grace moves. It corrects without shaming. It shows a way forward. Step by quiet step, another picture helps. Picture a night sky with a single star used as a guide. A sailor notices the star and nudges the rudder, not to change course at once, but to adjust the heading a degree or two. The small change keeps the ship from drifting into rocks. Grace often corrects in those small nudges, not dramatic rerouting. Just steady guidance that brings clarity to the path. There is also the image of clay on a wheel. The hands that shape do not smash the clay. They press with intention. Where the clay bulges, a gentle finger smooths the curve. Where a ridge remains, a soft touch refines the edge. The maker does not hurry. The work takes patient motion. The clay learns its form through repeated, careful shaping. Grace plays the same role. It teaches how to live with gentleness so the life's edges become more ordered and less jagged. I invite a quiet practice. Place a hand over the sternum as if resting on a small compass. Feel the rise and fall of the breath beneath the palm. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 4. Let the exhale be generous. Each out-breath offers a small unburdening. With each cycle, imagine a light on the inner compass brightening. The light shows the next small step rather than the whole road. That is enough for tonight. Think about a correction you have already seen. It might come from a friend who spoke a kind but firm truth. It might come from an error that taught a new direction. Maybe it is memory of a guardian who set a gentle boundary. Not to push away, but to guide towards safer ground. Name that memory quietly in the mind. Let it be a small lantern that proves correction can be given in love. Grace also clears the fog in thought. Picture standing on a shoreline in the early morning. Mist lies low and everything appears blurred. A gentle wind stirs and the fog thins. Outlines emerge. The lighthouse stands clear. The mind works like that shore. Confusion can blur decisions and feelings. Grace arrives like the wind, taking away the heavy veil. The next decision becomes visible. Not every trouble vanishes, but the path forward gains definition. There is no demand here for perfection. Grace does not require flawless behavior to begin its work. It meets the worn and the stumbling. It waits patiently at the edge of the field. When the tired one looks up, a hand offers direction without a ledger. The meeting is simple and humane. It invites change by offering a better way to step. Consider how small corrections change the body. Muscles tighten in resistance to a habit. A gentle adjustment in posture, suggested and repeated, shifts the strain. The neck unclenches. The shoulders drop. The change is not instantaneous. But over time, the new posture becomes easier than the old. Grace trains similarly. Habits of thought and action adjust with gentle repetition. Corrective care becomes a new muscle memory. I pause now and let the room hold that image. The hush thickens like a warm shawl. Outside, a distant light blinks. The house breathes in familiar rhythms. Inside, the lamp keeps the pages near and safe. A small exercise follows. Picture a path strewn with small stones, worries, regrets, stubborn habits. Walk along it slowly. Notice a single stone and pick it up. Hold it for a breath. Imagine placing it in a small pile by the path where someone waits with a soft basket. The basket does not judge the stones. It holds them with gentle hands. See the basket fill gradually. And notice the space that opens where the stones were. Space gives room for the next step, for gentler choices. Grace asks the same small exchange, hand over a stone, and allow a new step. It does not promise immediate perfection. It promises guidance and a clearer view for the next choice. The promise rests like a steady bench beside the path, available in the middle of the walk. Thoughts about righteousness here are not heavy rules to obey. The word points to a way of being that brings peace. Righteous living is shown through small, right actions repeated in quiet. Speak with kindness. Turn away from harm when it appears in small temptations. Choose rest when the body calls for it. The pattern emerges slowly. Grace teaches this pattern without harshness. Sometimes grace corrects by teaching boundaries. Boundaries are not walls intended to punish. They are fences built to keep tender things safe. A garden needs a fence to protect tender shoots. Without a border, hungry feet or wild animals might trample the new growth. Grace helps discern where to lay gentle fences, limits that keep life's fragile parts from needless harm. Learning this does not mean hardening the heart. It means tending what is in need of protection. An image of a teacher in a quiet room returns. The teacher's voice is low. The instruction is practical. Try this habit. Turn toward this kind thought. Let that one response rest in the heart. The lesson is neither scold nor sermon. It is coaching for the small choices of daily living. Grace is that coach who does not shame the slow learner. It applauds tiny wins and offers a nudge when the learner slips. Mercy and hope accompany grace. Mercy receives what is fragile and wounded. Hope points to the next morning. Together, they form a companionable trio that does not force a fast fix. The three move like neighbors walking together down a long lane, patient with the pace of each step. I read a minimal paraphrase quietly. The thought is simple. Grace teaches how to live rightly and to turn away from what harms. It trains in gentle ways. The sentence lands like a pebble in still water. Circles of effect widen slowly. If guilt arises, as the reading continues, set it down like a small pebble, as one might set down a tool after a day's work. It is not cast away thoughtlessly. It is placed where repair can begin. A hand reaches out to help with the mending. The process is slow, but sure. A short breath practice returns now. Inhale 3, hold 2, exhale 4. With each pattern, imagine a single small beam of light, tracing a clearer line ahead. The beam does not illuminate everything. It clarifies the step that comes next. Walk by that light for a while. See how decisions look easier when taken one at a time. I offer a gentle challenge that is not a demand. Try one small act of gracious living tomorrow. It might be offering forgiveness where irritation tightens the chest. It might be choosing rest rather than proving productivity. It might be speaking a kind word where impatience would have taken the place. The choice is yours in the plain sense of the word. Grace does not force action. It invites. The pages settle beneath my palm. The lamp keeps its warm ring. Outside, the night continues its slow work of folding the day away. Inside, the heart finds the quiet teachings of grace to be a soft companion. Abriev Brayer Rises. Simply and unadorned. Ask for the grace that teaches. Ask for the gentle corrections that bring clarity and a steady course. Ask for mercy when the learning is slow. The prayer does not demand certainty. It seeks the quiet guidance that has already been promised. I close the book with a deliberate motion. The room holds the story like a tucked blanket. The last image lingers a small compass, whose needle points to steady ground. Let that needle guide the first soft decisions of morning. Let grace be the teacher that walks beside. Always patient, always near. I will come back to read again. The book will open. The lamp will glow. And quiet words will be offered like small lamps along the path. For now, rest with the thought that grace is not a fierce judge, but a gentle guide. Let the breath slow. Let the mind unclench. Sleep in the care that teaches and restores. I open the Bible and let the page settle beneath my palm. The lamp spills a warm circle of light. The room is quiet enough to hear the soft creak of the binding. Tonight I linger on a promise that keeps the night gentle. The thought is simple, a peace that goes beyond what thoughts can hold. It does not demand proof. It comes and guards. I speak in a low voice. The words are spare. They are meant to be a shelter, not an argument. I read slowly so each phrase can arrive like a friendly knock at the door. The idea I carry is not clever. It is restful. It asks only for a listening ear and a breath that slows. This peace is not merely absence of noise. It is a presence that steadies. Picture a small room inside the chest. The room is lined with soft cloth and low pillows. It has a single window that opens onto a quiet sky. When thoughts press hard at the door, the window opens, and the air that comes in is cool and plain. It clears the head. It calms the pulse. The room holds what passes through. It does not need to rehearse every worry. It keeps watch. Place a hand lightly over the sternum. Feel the slow rise and the slow fall. Let the chest move like a simple bell. Inhale long and easy. Count to 4 in a gentle way. Hold a moment like the pause between steps. Exhale for 6. Longer and soft. Let the out-breath be the place where tension slips away. Repeat this pattern 3 times. Each cycle lets the small room inside the chest breathe more freely. Imagine the guard of this piece as a soft canopy. It is made, not of metal, but of woven light. Threads of quiet cross and recross. They make a gentle net that catches sharp thoughts and softens their edges. A harsh worry falls into the weave and does not break apart the night. It rests there, contained and watched. The canopy does not keep out the world. It reshapes how the world presses close. Danger and noise still exist beyond the weave. But the heart has a quiet interior now. It is a place the mind can come to sit and be tended. Let the mind name one anxious thought. Give it a small label. A word or 2 is enough. Do not argue with it. Hold the label up like a lantern and place it on a low shelf in the interior room. The shelf is long. It can hold many such lanterns without crowding. Each named thought is easier to see than the ones that hover unnamed. Naming does not make the worry huge. It simply makes it matter a little less to the whole of the night. Move attention to the forehead. Soften the brow. Picture a thin veil drawn across the mind's noise. The veil is translucent and kind. It does not hide facts. It dampens their sharpness. It filters the clanging doubts and leaves only the small, usable light. The head feels lighter when the veil does its work. Tension in the temples unthreads. The jaw uncurls. Each small loosening is a gentle promise that the whole head need not do the heavy lifting now. If memories crowd in, imagine them as books in a quiet library. Each book is different in size. Some are thick, some are small. You do not have to read them all tonight. Choose one small volume and set it gently on the table by the lamp. Close the cover if you need rest. The librarian of this inner place keeps a soft watch. She does not force any reading. She simply keeps the light steady so that when you return, the book is where you left it. Let a few slow breaths carry the image deeper. Breathe in 4. Hold at 2. Exhale for 6. With each out-breath, imagine a thin barrier of peace forming around the mind. The barrier is not hard or cold. It is like warm glass that lets light in but muffles the clatter. Thoughts continue to come, but they arrive as visitors who do not demand the whole house. This peace also tends the heart. Place the other hand over the left side of the chest if that feels safe. Feel the slow press of the palm. Imagine the heart sitting in a small garden. The garden is quiet at night. A single lantern hangs above a bench. The gardener is gentle. She trims what is overgrown and clears a path. She does not try to pull up everything at once. She works with slow, careful hands. The heart is tended little by little. Bruises ease. Tiny roots of anger or fear are coaxed into softer shapes. This tending is patient. It is not a hurry. It restores. Keep the eyes soft, or close them if that feels right. Think of the mind as a house with many rooms. Tonight you are entering the room that gives rest. It is a modest space. It has a low bed and a thin quilt. The lamp is set on a small table. The door is not locked. It is simply set inside a deeper frame, so that the noise of the house arrives as a muffled sound. This is the work of the guarding peace, to make a pocket of quiet that endures through the night. If worry insists on argument, imagine placing it in a small boat on a slow river that runs behind the house. The river moves without hurry. It carries that worry downstream. You do not push it away out of indifference. You simply watch as the current takes it. The boat remains visible for a time, and then fades. You are not abandoning the worry. You are letting it travel in a way that does not drag the whole room into motion. Sometimes the mind asks for reasons. It wants to solve the puzzle of tomorrow. This peace is not a solution maker. It is a stabilizer. Think of a lamp that shines on the path just enough for the next step. It does not reveal the entire route. It makes the next step safe. Let the night be content with that. Tonight, the task is not to fix everything. It is to accept light for the immediate step. I offer a brief prayer in a low, plain voice. The words are small and direct. Ask for the guarding peace to come close. Ask that it sit like a gentle keeper over the heart and mind. Ask that the rush of the day slow and the breath find a steady tide. The prayer is not long. It is a hand reaching out and resting. Stay with the breathing for a few more rounds. Breathe in 4. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. Each out-breath lets a little more of the world settle. Each in-breath takes in what is necessary for the next work. The rhythm becomes a small drumbeat that the night can follow. Now imagine a final image. The interior room has a low window that opens onto a small patch of sky. The guard of peace stands at that window. She watches the night without alarm. When sudden noise comes, she lifts a hand and adjusts the curtain. Light and shadow balance. The room remains calm. The heart learns that vigilance can be soft. Protection and gentleness walk together. I close the book slowly. The lamp becomes even softer. The house breathes around us in steady sounds. The breath in the chest grows deeper and more regular. Muscles ease. Thoughts thin into a quiet distance. Before I go, a small blessing may this peace, ineffable and gentle, hold the heart and hush the mind. May it sit like a steady guardian through the hours. May it give rest that repairs and a quiet that prepares the heart for morning. I tuck the page closed and rest my palm over the cover for a moment. The room keeps the hush outside. The night keeps its slow song inside. Sleep comes in gentle steps. I will return with the book and a small voice when the hour comes round again. For now, breathe and rest within the peace that guards. I lay the Bible on my lap and let my fingers rest on the open page. The lamp casts a calm pool of light. The room breathes quiet. Tonight I hold a single thought close. The Word of God is alive and active. It moves. It touches. It heals. I do not read words like labels to wear. I let them act like a small, warm lamp that moves slowly over a bruise. The lamp does not burn. It simply reveals what needs soft attention. The phrase "I carry" means that Scripture is not only memory. It is a living voice that reaches into the dark places of the heart. It does not shout. It enters gently and notices. Sit with me. Place one hand over the chest, the other on the thigh. Feel the warmth under the palm. Breathe in slowly. Count to 3. Hold for 2. Exhale for 4. Each breath is a small rhythm that prepares the body to receive. With each exhale, let one tightness loosen. The pace is calm. The pace is kind. Imagine a quiet room inside the body. It is small and clean. Light slips in through a narrow window. In that room rests a wound. It may be old. It may have been hidden beneath many layers of worry. Name the wound in the mind. A single, simple word will do. Naming does not make the pain larger. It simply brings it into the space where healing can reach it. Now picture the Word of God as a gentle stream of light. The light moves like water over the wounded place. It does not rip the skin open. It bathes what is raw, and it carries away what is dead. The sensation is not sharp. It is mild. When light meets the wound, a warmth spreads that does not sting. Tension softens. Muscles around the place unclench. Breath grows a little deeper. The truth that speaks into the wound is like a steady hand. It presses a soft cloth to the sore spot. It does not deny that hurt occurred. It names the hurt in a way that is honest and companioning. In that naming, a kind of repair begins. The mind often tries to fix too much at once. Here, repair comes in small acts. One breath, one thought of mercy, one quiet willingness to be healed. If an anxious thought arrives, do not wrestle with it. Offer it a place on a low shelf in that inner room. See it as a small jar that once held something bitter. Set it carefully down. The living Word will open up the jar later if it needs to. For now, keep attention on the steady light that cleanses. This small act of setting aside creates space for healing to do its work. I guide the listening to a practice that is gentle and precise. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Bring to mind one sentence from Scripture that has comforted you before a phrase that felt like a good roof over the head. It need not be long. A few words are enough. Let that phrase hang in the mind like a lantern. Do not analyze it. Let the light from that lantern rest on the wound named earlier. Watch how the light softens the edges. Notice what happens in the body. The sternum relaxes a fraction. The shoulders fall a degree. A tight place in the throat loosens. These are small measures of repair. Healing is rarely a dramatic moment. It is a slow knitting together, a patient mending of threads that were frayed by time and trial. Each small easing matters. Truth sometimes pierces darkness in a way that startles. Picture a slender, gentle needle used to remove a splinter. It is not a weapon. It is a tool that exposes what needs taking out. The needle is precise. Its aim is not to create pain, but to end a source of ongoing hurt. The moment the splinter is removed, the skin breathes again. The truth that pierces the dark often acts like that needle, precise, necessary, and followed by relief. If resistance comes, be tender with it. Not every part is ready to be touched. Some corners of the heart hide for good reason. Offer those corners the same light anyway. But do not force entry. Allow the living word to be patient. Like a gardener who waits for the soil to warm before planting, time and consistent care help readiness grow. The lamp returns, night after night. Healing is invited to keep coming. There is a place for memory in this gentle work. Past hurts may stand like stones on a path. The living word does not erase those stones. It lifts them, examines them, and places them where they cannot trip the traveler again. Sometimes the stones become markers that teach caution. Sometimes they become part of a foundation. In every case, the hand that moves the stone is steady and kind. Listen now as I read quietly. Not as a lecture, but as a healing presence. My voice keeps a low cadence. Let the words sit not as a list of commands, but as a soft salve. If anything in the passage brushes against a sore place, name that brush in the mind. Do not push it away. Let it be seen and held in the light. The world often asks for instant answers. Here, the emphasis is on patient attention. A small breathing pattern helps keep the process calm. Inhale in for 3. Pause for 2. Exhale for 5. The longer out-breath soothes the nervousness that often comes with deep repair. With each exhale, imagine the lamp over the wound widening its circle by a hair. Little by little, more of the dark is lit. Little by little, more of the healing warmth reaches inward. Allow a moment to feel gratitude toward the smallest comforts. A warm cup, a kind word, a hand that did not leave. Gratitude is not a denial of pain. It is a recognition that good exists, even in the presence of hurt. These small goods become the first stitches of a new healing pattern. The living word often arrives through ordinary channels. A neighbor's care, a remembered kindness, a line of scripture that arrives at the right hour. If doubt whispers that the wound is too deep, do not engage the whisper in debate. Hand the doubt over to the living word as if placing it in a basket on the path. The basket is not a dismissal. It is trust in a presence that can carry more than we imagine. The act of handing over is simple and real. It reduces the pressure of holding everything alone. I invite now a tiny act of offering in the imagination. Take one small regret or one specific ache and place it in an open palm. Picture a light moving into that palm and warming the offering. The warmth does not burn it into nothing. It simply changes the heaviness into something manageable. The offering becomes part of the light's work. Let the release be gentle. No heroics necessary. Healing through words is also about telling truth to oneself. That truth can be tender. You are not less for what you have endured. You are held even when you cannot feel it. Say that quietly in the mind. Let it become a steady refrain. The living word supports such refrains and helps them grow roots. Memory will return. And that is allowed. When it does, treat it like a visitor who needs a seat. A coupe. A little listening. The living word does not rush the conversation. It offers better words when the moment is right. The visitor may leave lighter. The body follows. Learning that presence can be trusted again. A brief, soft prayer follows in the hush. Ask for gentle light to touch the wounded places. Ask that truth come not as a harsh blade, but as a healing touch. Ask for patience to let repair happen in its own gentle timing. The prayer is small and direct. It rests in the room like a soft blanket. As the reading winds to a close, tuck the image of the lamp into the heart. Know that the lamp does not go out at dawn. The living word continues in the waking day, as small nudges toward repair, a changed thought, a kinder action, a softer boundary. Healing is not finished in one night. It is a companion that walks with a steady step. I close the book with a slow motion. The lamp remains on a low glow. The breath under the hand keeps its even rhythm. Outside, the world keeps its low sounds. Inside, a little more ease sits where tension once had a firm grip. A final blessing settles on the breath. May the living word touch what is raw. May it bring light where darkness has hidden. And may healing come in patient, steady measures. I promise to return with the book and a quiet voice. For now, rest in the knowledge that truth that is alive moves toward repair. Let the breath carry you into sleep. Held by that tender light, I lift the book and let the page rest in my hands. The lamp leans its soft light over the lines. I read the verse slowly, letting each small phrase settle into the room. Jeremiah 2:9. One comes like a quiet reminder. There is a plan that holds hope and a future. The words do not demand a sudden understanding. They simply rest there. Like a lantern placed on a worn table. A pause follows. In the hush, I think of times when life bent a different way than expected. A closed door that seemed final. A winter that felt unending. Those moments sometimes carry their own hush. They are heavy at first. Later, some of them reveal a soft turning. A new neighbor becomes a friend. A forced pause gives space to learn a new skill. A loss opens a way to a different kindness. The turning is not always bright. It is often slow and surprising. I tell a small memory tonight. Years ago, a move felt like a failure. At first, plans unraveled. A rent check came late. Sleep grew thin. In the dim weeks, a neighbor offered a cup of coffee and a listening ear. That simple kindness turned into a steady friendship. Later, when work found a new shape, the friendship was already there to celebrate the small successes. The blessing was unforeseen. It arrived in the shadow of a worry. Another time, a plan for a career shifted. The change felt like loss. The heartbeat that once matched a busy schedule slowed. Space opened where busyness had been. In that quiet, a small voice nudged toward a different kind of labor work that fit the rhythm of the heart more gently. The new path did not erase the cost. It honored it. The future that came was not exactly what had been hoped for, but it held a different kind of flourishing. These stories do not make suffering small. They do not pretend hardship is a neat lesson. Pain and confusion are real. Still, sometimes the path that looks broken becomes the route to blessing. A narrow exit can lead to a wide field. The promise in Jeremiah is not about easy nights. It is about the presence of a larger pattern at work, a design that can yield hope even when the next step is unclear. Breathwork aids this trust. Place one hand over the chest. Feel the steady rise and fall. Breathe in 3 beats. Hold for 2. Breathe out 4. Each exhale loosens a little tension. With each round, imagine a small light widening on the path ahead. The light does not show the whole road. It makes the next step clear. For this night, that is enough. I invite a quiet exercise in memory. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Pull to mind one difficult turn where something small later grew into a blessing. See the place where the change began. Notice the faces. Sense small details. Let the memory be simple and specific. Hold it without replaying the entire drama. Let it act as a proof that unforeseen good can come from hard places. Now imagine placing that memory into the room beside you. See it as a small lantern on a low stool. The lantern shines without heat. It is steady. It does not try to show everything at once. It offers proof that a path can widen over time. Let it sit there for a while. Let the chest feel the steadiness of that small light. Trust in plans often grows when the heart practices small acts of surrender. Surrender here means handing over a single worry for tonight. The act is simple. Name one thing that presses the most. Speak it gently in the mind and place it into your palm. Picture the hand, my hand, taking it and setting it on the table. The motion is ordinary and calm. The worry is not erased. It is simply not carried this night. There is comfort in remembering the plans unfold in seasons. Some seasons are sowing, some are pruning, some are waiting. The promise of a future that prospers asks for time and patience. Think of a tree that grows through spring storms. Roots go deep while branches bend. The future it reaches is steady because of the slow work beneath the surface. So it can be with life. A quiet reminder helps here. Blessings may come not as fireworks but as small lights that gather. A steady hand on a shoulder, a letter that arrives at the right hour, a sudden relief in a sick night. These are the ways hope often arrives. They do not always fit grand expectations. They fit the careful geography of the heart. I read a short line from the page that speaks of hope. The voice is low and neutral. The phrase feels like a small anchor. It does not argue with fear. It simply offers trust as something to practice. Practice looks like praying small prayers. It looks like a minute of gratitude. It looks like a slow breath repeated until the heart remembers rhythm. As the memory exercise closes, open the eyes slowly. Allow the room to come back into focus. Notice the lamp's circle. Notice the warmth of the hand on the page. These physical things are small proofs of steadiness. They remind that the world is made of touchable, calm places, even when plans shift. Now I move gently into the next thought. The heading in the outline begins with re. The word that fits best tonight is receiving the plan, receiving hope, receiving renewal. The shift is subtle. Trust often moves into a posture of receiving when the mind stops trying to force all the answers. Receiving means quiet readiness. It means letting mercy come in small measures. Receiving begins with listening. Sit with the book open. Place the palm on the chest. Breathe in for 3. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 4. As the breath settles, listen for a soft whisper of guidance in the small places, the memory that eases, the kindness that arrives, the door that opens a little wider. These are the ways renewal comes. Renewal has a gentle pace. It does not demand sudden change. Like a river that polishes stones, renewal works by repetition. A kind word offered often reshapes a habit. A night of restful sleep restores nerves that worry had frayed. The slow accumulation of small mercies becomes a stronger place to stand in the morning. I guide a short practice to welcome this renewal. Close the eyes if that feels right. Picture acute well. Draw 1 small cup of water and sip. The water is cool and clear. It tastes like rest. Each sip nourishes only a little. The tiny nourishments, gathered over days, produce true change. Receive them without measuring worth. Simple things are often the most faithful. As the mind practices receiving, consider what needs renewing. Not everything demands grand overhaul. Perhaps a small patience needs tending. Perhaps a habit of harsh self-talk needs softening. Pick one small thing. Do not plan to fix it all at once. Imagine giving it one gentle nudge, tonight and again tomorrow. See how the repeated nudges begin to move the weight. If fear rises at the thought of receiving fear, that acceptance equals passivity, name that fear, place it in the same palm used for the earlier practice. Do not wrestle with it. Offer it the same care. Receiving is not the end of effort. It is a change in posture. It preserves energy for the next right step. It allows the heart to rest enough to act kindly when action is needed. I close this part of the reading with a small blessing. The words are simple. May the promise of a hopeful plan be felt tonight. May small lights of blessing gather. May a readiness to receive gentle renewal grow like moss on a cool stone. Breathe once more. In 3, hold 2, out in 4. Let the breath carry the hope inward. The lamp stays low. The book rests beneath my palm. Outside, the night hums as it always does. Inside, a small trust keeps company with sleep. I will come back with the pages and a low voice. For now, receive the quiet and let the promise of a future slowly take root. I open the Bible and rest it in my lap. The room waits. The light keeps a small, steady circle. My voice moves low and careful. Tonight the page draws me to a simple invitation. It offers rest to the tired and ease for a heavy load. The words are not a demand. They are a hand held out. I do not read them as a line to be met with cleverness. I read them as a place to lay down weight. The passage points to coming. It points to leaning. It promises an exchange. Carrying less is not the same as doing less. It is a change of posture. It is a softer yoke and a gentler step. Sit with me for a moment. Put one hand over the heart. Feel the warmth there. Let the other hand rest in the lap. Breathe slowly. Count the in-breath to 3. Hold at 2. Let the out-breath run to 5. The longer exhale is a small permission to let go. Use it like a key to unlock a clenched fist. Think of a heavy tool in the hand. It is useful, perhaps necessary at times, but not every hour requires it. Set it down now. See its weight. Reduce the moment the fingers open. The wrist relaxes. The shoulders settle. There is no shame in placing the tool aside. Rest does not make skill vanish. It restores the hand for the next careful work. Purpose lives in stillness sometimes, not in frantic motion, not in constant proving. In quiet, the aim becomes clearer. A single bell tone can tune a whole orchestra. A pause between words lets meaning breathe. That is the kind of stillness I invite tonight. A place where the next small step can be seen without the rush that blurs it. I guide a gentle image. Imagine a plain workbench near a window. Tools hang in order. Some are needed at once. Others wait with patience. The bench is not empty. It simply offers space for repair and consideration. A craftsman does not hammer through the night. He turns the piece, inspects the seam, considers the grain. Purpose in stillness looks like that, inspecting the heart, loving the grain, choosing the small next move. A soft question comes without pressure. What little thing matters most in the morning? No need to answer with a speech. Keep it to a single small thing. A short call to a friend. A moment to sit and make tea. A short walk that keeps the body known to the world. The smallness of a thing does not make it unimportant. Often, the smallest acts carry the deepest purpose. If a worry insists on staying present, do not fight it in argument. Offer it a seat by the window of the bench. Give it a name for a breath. Seeing it as an object and not the whole room helps. Offer the worry as you might hand a tool to a neighbor here. Take this for a while. Let someone else hold the burden. The act is not to abandon responsibility. It is to share what is heavy so the shoulders do not break. The invitation I read is not to be clever about life. It is to be honest. It asks for the courage to set down what is not yours to carry alone. There is rest for the willing. Rest does not erase care. It makes the care more faithful. A rested hand is steadier. A calm mind sees more clearly. The exchange brings clarity, not laziness. Place the hand over the sternum again. Feel the slow beat beneath the palm. The chest rises. False. Let the rhythm be a small metronome that guides thought. With each out-breath, imagine a thin thread of tension loosening from the shoulder and sliding away. The motion is small and ongoing. Change does not need to be dramatic to be true. Purpose in stillness also means listening. In the quiet, small nudges are easier to hear. A line that once seemed meaningless can glow with direction. A memory of a kind act can become a blueprint for a gentle habit. Often, what matters next is not a grand plan, but a soft correction. The whisper of what to do next is tender. I invite a short practice. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture a single small lamp on the workbench. The lamp lights one corner well. That corner is the place for tonight's attention. Place there one simple intention for the morning. Keep it modest. Make it specific. Let the lamp warm that intention through the night. In the morning, tend it as you would a sapling. Water it with a single, small action. If doubt arrives and says that stillness wastes time, let it speak without argument. Then place that doubt on the bench by the lamp and watch how it looks different under steady light. Doubt often grows in rushing. It shrinks in calm. Seeing it under warm light removes some of its fearsome edges. The trial of faith is not to silence doubt forever. It is to hold doubt in a space where mercy can meet it. There is mercy in the promise I read. It is not a hard law that breaks the bearer. It is a steady rule that keeps the heart safe. Mercy receives the clumsy attempts. Mercy welcomes the late returns. It does not collect a ledger of failures. It offers repair and a quiet room in which to mend. Think of a bell that rings once to begin the work. It is not a signal to rush. It is a call to attention. The bell reminds that work done with presence matters more than work done in scattered motion. The smallest act offered with care can be a sacrament of purpose. A kind word given slowly, a held gaze, a meal made without hurry. These small rituals build a life of meaning. I read aloud in a low voice, not to teach but to invite. The words are like a seamstress's stitch, small, steady. They catch the loose edges and hold them in place. The tone remains calm. The cadence is deliberate, so the listener can follow without strain. The voice becomes a companion to the breath. If sleep resists, do not scold it. Let the eyes close a little at a time. Count a soft breath and allow the body to follow. The promise of rest is not a contest. It is a safe bed. The bed holds the body and the trust that what is undone will be met in time. Purpose often returns in the morning, not as a thunderclap, but as a quiet inclination. It may begin as the taste of coffee or a sudden thought about a neighbor. These small stirrings are faithful clues. The stillness of the night is not wasted time. It is the ground where the next day grows. I offer a brief, soft blessing. May the heart find rest enough to see the next right step. May burdens be held with gentle hands. May the quiet make purpose plain. Rest in the promise that handing over weight sometimes reveals the path forward. The book closes slowly. The lamp keeps its small circle. I place my hand on the cover and feel the slight warmth left by reading. The room keeps the hush. Outside, the night moves on its slow way. Inside, breath draws a steady line. Sleep arrives not as an enemy but as a helper. It takes the small rest and turns it into readiness for morning. I will return to read again. The pages will open. The voice will keep the same low shape. For now, set down one burden. Choose one small intention. Let stillness become the place where purpose breathes. Sleep with that quiet in the chest. Wake with a gentle aim. The Bible rests open in my lap. The lamp keeps a soft circle. Breath slows. The room feels like a small harbor. Pages turn with a hush. My voice drops low and steady. Tonight, I linger on the image of a father whose love does not hinge on performance. The thought is plain and warm. I do not lecture. I read as one who wants to make a place safe. The language I use is gentle paraphrase. It moves like a hand smoothing a blanket. The main idea is simple. The Father's love comes without conditions. It does not bargain. It does not tally scores. It waits with an open space. Picture a house with many lights on. Doors are not bolted. The porch light leans out over the steps. Someone inside knows the sound of the gate. That person watches the road. The watching is steady and calm. It is not anxious. It is steady because care is sure. Imagine a small child with scraped knees. The child does not need to justify the fall. A knobby hand lifts, not to scold, but to tend. The warmth that touches the skin is immediate. The hurt is noticed without a lecture. The child is held. The hand does not measure worth by the scrape. The care is given first. Place a palm over the chest now. Feel the gentle rise and fall. Breathe slowly. In 3. Pause in 2. Out in 5. Let the long exhale be an offering. Each out-breath loosens a little of the day's tightness. Repeat the pattern 3 times. The rhythm is a kind companion. In my mind, the Father's love looks like a room with a hearth. The fire burns steady, not flashy. It warms without requiring a performance. People gather there with mud on their boots and questions in their mouths. No one is removed for being broken. The seat is always open. Think of a pocket inside a coat. It is deep. It holds small things that matter. A tucked note, a small stone picked up on a walk. The pocket does not show what it keeps. It simply keeps them safe. The Father's care is like that pocket. It holds secrets and shame and small joys without exposing them for public display. If guilt presses, picture bringing it like a small, heavy parcel. Do not make the parcel larger in imagination by retelling the hurt in a naked loop. Set it down on a table. Look at it for a breath. Then place the parcel in the open lap, pictured there. The lap receives, without a ledger. The motion of setting down is itself a prayer. When the story of the child who left and returned comes to mind, notice how the welcome is not a sharp contract. It is an open embrace that begins before explanations can be given. The arms that take in do not demand a long confession to prove worthiness. The welcome rests on knowing the name, not on a list of merits. That is the kind of love read into this night. A small practice helps the heart receive this. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Place both hands over the sternum. Feel warmth under the palms. Imagine a voice that says your name quietly, kindly. without accusation. Let that imagined naming be a small balm. Let the body know it is seen. The seeing itself eases the muscles around the ribs. Love that is unconditional behaves like a patient gardener. It tends the bed slowly. It prunes when growth chokes other growth. It waters when drought grinds the soil. The gardener does not tally a ledger of failed shoots. She keeps care where roots are thin. The garden recovers under hands that remember the soil. Sometimes the fear of unworthiness speaks loudly. It tells stories of needing to earn the light of care. Do not argue with the fear in a way that sharpens it. Offer it instead a seat near the window. Watch how it looks from across the room, up close. Fear can be larger. From a distance it loses some of its power. The Father's presence lets that distance be found. I read a short paraphrase now that points to belonging as a given, not a prize. The words fall slowly. They say that belonging is an invitation that stands even when the heart is unsure. There is no checklist to complete before stepping inside. The welcome is not withheld because of questions. The welcome is the beginning. If old mistakes blur the view, imagine washing them with warm water, not to erase memory, but to clear the edges. Clean hands do not deny history. They make it easier to set the next bowl on a table. The action is practical and humble. Mercy often moves in such small, tidy ways. Let the breath guide a small offering. Breathe in 3. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. With each out-breath, place a single small worry into the imagined palm of the Father's hand. It could be the name of a person, a fear about tomorrow, a tiredness that presses hard. Keep the offering specific and modest. The pattern of small handoffs trains the heart not to hoard burdens at night. Receive in silence. One small assurance: you are not required to be perfect to be loved. The words are not ambitious. They are not a cure for all shame. They are a soft fact that can change how the next choice is made. Set this assurance like a small stone on the bedside table of the mind. Let it be a place to touch when alarm rises. Think of patience as a kind of timekeepers. Clocks keep hours without fuss. Love that is unconditional keeps watch long enough for healing to begin. It understands that growth is slow. It waits for the habit of trust to form. The waiting is not passive. It is faithful tending. A gentle image of a father singing helps now. The song is not a performance. It is a low hum that steadies a small heart. Words are simple and slow. The tune keeps no score. It says, come, rest, close the eyes. The voice in the image does not fix the wound tonight. It simply holds the space where repair can start. If tears come, let them. They are not evidence of failure. They are liquid prayers. They clean. They make room. Crying quietly in this companioned image does not alienate the Father. It draws the lap closer. The motion of a tear is a small signal that mercy may be needed. Mercy hears the signal without surprise. A short exercise in naming mercy helps. Whisper one small thing you need mercy for tonight in your mind. The word can be brief. Place it into the imagined lap again. Watch the lap receive. Notice the change in the shoulders. Feel the sternum ease a fraction. These changes are quiet, but they matter in the dark. Unconditional love also gives permission to be small. Not every night requires a heroic fix. Small acts carry true courage. Saying a quick yes to rest can be brave. Choosing one gentle word in place of a sharp reply is brave. The Father's love notices these small courages and treats them as worthy. I close the reading with a deliberate prayer, offered quietly. The prayer thanks the Father for watching, without a ledger. It asks for the grace to accept welcome and the courage to hand over burdens in small pieces. It asks for sleep that repairs and for mornings that bring steady light. The voice is low. The prayer is simple. Lay the hand flat on the cover of the book. Feel its warmth through the cloth. The house keeps a hush. The lamp leans its final circle on the page. Outside, night moves with its steady sounds. Inside, the imagined lap remains open. Rest comes closer now. A final blessing settles like a soft shawl. May the knowledge of unconditional love sit in the chest like a quiet ember. May it warm without burning. May it steady the steps of the coming morning. Sleep in that welcome. Breathe slowly. I will be here with the book and a soft voice when the hour returns. For now, rest into the love that does not depend on performance. And wake with gentleness in the first light. The lamp glows. The book rests open on my lap. The page breathes with the room. I speak in a low voice. Careful and steady. Tonight, I hold two quiet truths together. One is simple. Nothing can separate us from love that holds without end. The other is a small, stubborn courage called faith. They sit side by side like two lamps on a table. Faith is not always bold. Sometimes it is no larger than a tiny seed. The passage I trace tonight says the smallest trust can change what seems immovable. A mountain in a story stands for something so big it seems impossible to cross. In the life of the night, mountains look like heavy worries, long-standing fears, or habits that make the chest tight. The idea here is not magic. It is a practice of steady hope. Place a hand over the heart. Feel the palm warm, the sternum. Breathe in slowly. Count 3. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 5. The longer exhale lets a little of the pressing go. Repeat once more. Each breath becomes a soft companion to the words. Imagine holding a mustard seed in the palm. It is smaller than the thumbnail. It is plain and unshowy. Do not expect it to roar. It lives as a small thing, yet planted and tended. It grows. The image is humble. The lesson is that trust in small measure can begin the change that big burdens need. Faith does not always look like certainty. It often looks like a quiet decision to step forward anyway. Think of a mountain of worry as a cairn of stones piled in the middle of a path. The stones are names bills. A strained relationship. Sleepless nights. A long regret. Each stone has weight. Each stone is familiar. The pile seems too high for one to move. The first choice is to stop viewing the whole mountain as the only option. Break it down. Notice one small stone. That one can be handled. Now plant the mustard seed at the mountain's foot. Not to perform a miracle. simply to begin an act of trust. Water it with a single breath of prayer, or a single act of obedience, or the simple handing over of one worry to the silent presence that waits nearby. The word for that presence is love. It holds without tallying debts. It watches without needing proof. When a small faith is offered, change begins in quiet ways. Roots reach under the stones. Tiny cracks appear in the edges of fear. The mountain does not vanish in an instant. It shifts. A loose pebble rolls away. Another stone loosens. The work is small. Repeated. Patient. The seed's first leaves are hardly dramatic. They are green and tender. Still. The next day they are there. And the day after that, more growth shows. I guide the listener to a soft practice. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture one single, specific worry. Make it no larger than a pebble in the imagination. Hold it in the mind and place it on the floor beside the body. See the pebble clearly, its color, its coolness. Name it with a short phrase. Naming helps the mind stop spinning around it. With the other hand, imagine taking a tiny seed. It can be a mustard seed or any small seed that feels real in the mind. Plant it beside the pebble. Water it only once tonight. With a breath, breathe in the word of hope. Breathe out and imagine the seed sinking. The action is not dramatic. It is simple and deliberate. The next breath is an offering a small measure of trust placed in the hands that will not let the pebble crush the heart. Faith that moves mountains is not faith that pretends the mountain was never there. It is faith that keeps working at the base of the stone pile. It is faith that calls a neighbor for help. It is faith that sleeps when the mind begs for planning. It is faith that makes the small phone call or sends the short note. The acts are tiny, but they begin to rearrange the landscape. Remember the image of a parent who watches a child on a high curb. The child fears the step. The parent does not scold the fear. The parent holds a steady hand close and says, "Come." The step is taken slowly. The hand steadies, not to carry the child past every challenge, but to make the next footfall sure. That steadiness is like the love that cannot be separated from the heart. It is patient and trustworthy. Lean into that image now. Place a palm on the chest and feel the warmth again. Imagine the steady hand of care beside the shoulder. The hand is not controlling. It is present. Let the body know it can lean. Let the mind accept the permission to try one small brave thing tomorrow. A short walk, a kind word, a phone call, a decision to let one night of sleep be enough. There is also a lesson about seasons. A mustard seed does not become a tree in a single night. It grows with rain and steady tending. Faith grows similarly. It deepens with repeated acts of trust and with small reminders of love. The practice tonight is not to force a rush. It is to make room for the slow, faithful work of habit. Faith, like a muscle, strengthens with use. The first uses are small and quiet. Now take a soft breath and list in the mind 3 small steps that could follow this moment. Keep them very small. The first might be to name one thing at dawn and place it in prayer. The second might be to breathe slowly for 1 full minute when anxiety rises. The third might be to accept a small kindness offered by another. These steps do not fix everything. They begin a pattern. They are seeds sown in the soil of tomorrow. There is comfort in knowing love is constant, while faith behaves like a tiny seed. Love does the holding. Faith does the planting. Both work together. Love never leaves the seed alone. It waters. It watches. It waits. Nothing separates the seed from this care. That truth steadies the night. If worry returns as a loud voice, do not argue fiercely. Offer it a chair across the room. Let the chair be a place where the mind can look at the worry without being swallowed. Ask the worry a quiet question. What is one small next step? Often the worry cannot answer the whole problem. It can only suggest a tiny motion. Take that motion if it seems right. If not, choose a different small step. The aim is not to silence every fearful thought, but to give the mind a new habit to follow when fear grows loud. I read again in a voice that is a low tide. Faith moves, not because it is grand, but because it persists. The words are not heavy doctrine. They are invitations. They are like hands that point to one usable thing. The night listens better to invitations than to long arguments. Keep the practice small and present. A brief breathing cadence returns. Inhale for 3. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. With each out-breath, imagine placing one pebble from the mountain into an open palm of care. See the hand. Receive it without surprise. Feel the shoulders ease. Notice how the sternum loosens a fraction. These shifts are small. They are enough for tonight. Hold this last image for a while. The planted seed at the mountain's foot. A steady hand beside the shoulder. A path beginning to clear. The lamp's circle of light seems to widen a little. The breath finds a steadier rhythm. The eyes grow heavier. Before closing, a short blessing may the smallest measure of trust find fertile ground in the heart. May love that does not let go keep watch through the dark. May one small act of faith tomorrow be the beginning of gentler days. I close the book with a slow motion. The lamp dims a degree. The room keeps its hush. Outside, night carries its steady sounds. Inside, the heart carries a tiny seed and a hand that will not let go. Sleep now. Step by patient step, I will return with the pages and a low voice, and together we will plant another small trust in the morning light. The lamp is low. The Bible opens like a quiet harbor. Fingers rest on the page. My voice is softer than the lamp. Tonight I hold a promise from Isaiah. Those who hope in the Lord find renewed strength. I do not parade the words. I let them sit like a warm hand on the shoulder. Picture an eagle on a cliff. The bird does not struggle against the wind. It tilts its wings and lets the air lift it. The motion is steady. The rise is not sudden. It comes from trust in the currents. That same motion can meet a tired heart. Strength often arrives when lifting is shared. Place a hand over the chest. Feel the small rise and fall. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let the out-breath be generous. Each exhale is a little giving over. The body remembers how to accept help. when given time. A mountain comes to mind, not a literal cliff. A long season of worry, a relationship that frayed, a job lost, a fear that lived in the ribs. Stand at the base of that mountain with me in imagination. See its stones, its rough paths, the places where the light barely reaches. Name one specific stone, make it small in the mind. One single pebble is enough to begin. Faith is not always a shout. It can be a small nod. It can be a breath that says, I will trust this hand for a moment. Think of the smallest trust you have kept this week. A quiet prayer at the sink. A breath held and released. The smallest faith can move the first stone. It need not pretend the whole climb is done. It simply opens a path for the next footfall. I remember a year when the chest felt heavy night after night. Decisions piled on top of each other. Sleep ran thin. The mountain was a pile of unpaid accounts. A strained word with one I loved, and a sense of failure that would not leave. In the middle of that pile, a single act helped. A neighbor brought a loaf of warm bread and sat in the kitchen without saying much. The presence did not erase the struggle. It gave a small place to rest. That rest became the start of new strength. Strength often returns in small measures. It is a steadying hand, a gentle correction, a night of real sleep. A short prayer spoken aloud. The scriptural promise does not demand superhuman effort. It offers a change of posture. Lay down what can be laid down. Let a stronger hand take the weight for a while. The arms that hold are not distant. They are near enough to feel the heat of the body. Imagine wings that open from a tired back. They are not polished or perfect. They are the real, working sort. Air finds under them in the places of least resistance. The lift comes from the wind, not from forcing the wings. Hope plays the role of that wind. It is quiet. It is patient. It gathers the small strengths already present and uses them. Practice a small handing over. Hold the pebble you named. Put it in the palm of the other hand. Imagine a life-giving hand coming close. Set the pebble into that hand. Watch it accept the weight without surprise. The motion is ordinary and calm. The pebble is not lost. It is simply carried for a time. Feel the shoulders release a little. Hope prepares in stages. It does not always begin with a grand revelation. Often it starts with one more breath in the morning. One small phone call. One step toward a neighbor. The promise that those who hope will renew their strength is lived out in these tiny movements. Each one is an offering that, over time, builds stamina. Walk now through a scene of light. The path slopes upward but gently. Patches of shade alternate with open places. Wind comes in slow pulses. Each pulse pushes a little. Feet find steadier perches. The heart notices not the entire distance, but the next 5 steps. That is enough for tonight. The eyes can close on that small stretch of road and trust the rest to morning. If fear whispers that rest is irresponsible, listen without letting the whisper lead. Ask one simple question. What is one small thing I can do tomorrow that will honor this pause? It might be a 5-minute walk. It might be a note to one friend. It might be making tea and sitting with it, rather than rushing past. These small choices are faithful ways to rebuild strength. I speak of power that comes not from pushing harder, but from being lifted. The image of the eagle returns. Wings stretch. The bird is not passive. It cooperates with what lifts it. This cooperation is a kind of hope. It is an active waiting. It accepts the wind and moves with it. Hope asks for patience and a willingness to be helped. There is a soft practice to try. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Take the pebble again in the mind. Put the pebble on a wide table that stands very near. Across from you sits a quiet presence. Do not strain to describe it. Let it be simply steady. Hand the pebble across the table. Watch the presence. Take it and set it down. Notice the way the chest loosens when the pebble is out of the hands. Hold that feeling for a breath. Renewed strength sometimes appears in endurance. Not the dramatic 75 push-ups kind of endurance, but the daily carrying on, showing up for a task when the heart prefers to hide, speaking one kind word, turning a thought away from its sharp edges. Repetition of kind acts becomes strength, very slowly. Muscles of mercy and patience grow firmer. If doubt comes, do not meet it with harshness. Ask it a small, practical question. What step can I take in the next hour that does not drain me? Often doubt cannot imagine a fine-grained action. It sees only the whole mountain. The question brings the mind back to the small and the manageable. Those steps add up. There is comfort in a community of care. Strength is often shared. A lifted hand, a steady glance, a neighbor bringing bread. These are ways the world helps the heart rise. Practice seeing one small sign of care received in the last week. Keep it close to the chest. Let it be proof that the lift can come through others as well as through private prayer. Breathe with me once more. In 3, hold at 2. Out in 6. With each out-breath, imagine the wings growing a little fuller. The lift does not rush. It arrives in patient increments. The breath becomes a rhythm of trust. Trust grows not by grand statements, but by repeated acts of handing over and receiving. I offer a short blessing now. May the small trust you hold be enough for the next step. May the weight you place down tonight be borne by a steady hand. May the wind of hope find under your wings and lift you a little higher. Rest in that hope. Let sleep draw strength into the bones. The Bible closes slowly. The lamp keeps its faint glow. The room feels larger by a small, quiet margin. Outside, the night keeps its gentle sounds. Inside, the breath is steadier. The heart has a pebble less to carry. I will come back with the book and a voice that is calm. For now, let strength be renewed in the ease of sleep. Let hope be the wind beneath the wings. Sleep in that lifting. Wake with something stronger than before. I set the Bible open and let the lamp spill its small circle of comfort over the page. The room is quiet like a held breath. My voice moves low and close. Tonight, the thought I keep is simple and clear light that comes into the dark and makes a way. The book names that light in a quiet line. I do not quote. I only let the sense of that promise rest in the room. Light here is not loud. It is a steady presence that finds the corners. Imagine a single lantern set on a low table. It warms a small patch of floor. Shadows pull back a little. The edges of things soften. Nothing is burned away. The dark simply finds a place to sit that is less frightening because the lamp shows the path. Place one hand over the sternum. Feel the tender lift beneath the palm. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. Hold lightly at 2. Breathe out for 5. The longer out-breath lets the tightness loosen. With each cycle picture, that inner lamp growing a degree brighter. The pulse under the hand steadies. The chest becomes a small room where light lives. I guide the imagination toward a doorway. The door opens onto a plain path. At the path's start stands the lantern. It is not a floodlight that exposes everything at once. It offers just enough to take the next step. That is the work of this kind of light. It does not demand immediate clarity about the whole journey. It makes the next small movement safe. Think of the last thing that felt too sharp to face. Make it a single, clear image in the mind. Give it no more force than a small pebble on the path. Do not insist on fixing it now. Set that pebble near the lantern. Watch how the lantern's glow touches it. Watch the edge of the pebble become less jagged under the warm light. The change is gentle. The fear that once looked like a boulder feels a little less sure of itself. There is a tenderness to light that is also practical. It shows the places where the floorboard creaks. It reveals the step that needs guarding. It points to the chair that will hold you, while the night does its slow work. Light is not a cure-all. It is a kind companion that helps the feet find the next safe place to land. Imagine now an inner candle. It sits beneath the breastbone, like a small, steady flame. The candle does not demand a sermon of miracles. It simply burns. In my voice invitending, not striving. Place the hand on the belly. Breathe in 3. Hold 2. Breathe out 5. With each out-breath picture the candle's flame breathing with you. Let it warm places that feel cold. Let the flame's gentle light wash over the tight shoulders and the jaw that has clenched too long. Light also dissolves the way fear sharpens memories. Shadows in the mind keep faces unclear and make small mistakes loom larger than they are. The lamp of promise does not erase memory. It repositions it into proportion. A wrong step may remain a lesson rather than the whole story. The light makes room for grace to move in the places that feel raw. There is a practice I offer. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture the bedroom as a round little world. At the center of this world, place a small circle of light, no larger than a coin. Around it, name 3 things you would like the light to touch tonight. Keep each item small and specific, a restless mind, a sore memory, a worry about tomorrow. Do not try to name every trouble. Let these 3 be enough. Watch as the circle brightens a fraction for each one named. If a face or a past moment comes to mind, let the light fall on it like a gentle hand. It does not pry. It cleanses with warmth. Allow the image to be seen, and then allow the breath to carry it into the light's care. Release is not forgetting. It is repositioning. Trust. Outside the window, the night has its own small lights. One porch, a few distant cars. Those small lights echo the household lantern. in a friendlier pattern, steady, human, particular. Take a moment to notice a single external light and let it remind you that not all darkness is empty. The world is stitched with small beacons, and one of them is close enough to guide you through the next steps. There is also an inward seeing to learn. Sometimes sight begins in the lungs, not the eyes. Breathe in slowly and see the light travel to the place where worry sits. The light does not fight the worry like an opponent. It brings attention and warmth, and in that simple presence the worry often shrinks. The mind learns that tending is more useful than ruminating. I read, not to prove or to argue, but to keep the lamp set. The words I lift are gentleness in motion. They call to the listeners as a small, steady hand would call a child across a room, come this way a bit. Follow this light for the next step. The tone of the reading is low and repetitive, because repetition becomes comfort. Light also carries moral tenderness. It reveals what needs mending without yelling the faults. It shows the loop of a rope fraying so it can be tied anew. It clarifies the next act of kindness, the small apology, the quiet fix that heals more than a public spectacle. The lamp asks for simple courage, a short word, a handed apology, an offered cup of tea. These small acts are enough for tonight. If sleep brings dreams that feel jagged, imagine the light carrying a soft veil across them. The veil is sheer and warming. It does not hide memories from necessary attention, but it muffles the sting until dawn's clearer eyes can decide what to do. Allow the veil's hush to be real. The mind, without being shamed, can rest under its gentle shade. Let the image broaden to a lighthouse by a quiet shore. The light sweeps across the waves in a slow, dependable arc. A boat on the water does not need the lamp to light its whole map. It merely needs the cue to steer towards safer water. So it is with the soul. The lighthouse does not promise to remove every wave. It promises a steady reference, a yes to direction when fog would otherwise erase the horizon. Practice, a small handing over. Take one worry and imagine placing it in the circle of light. See it set down, as one might set a cup on a table. Feel the shoulders ease. Hear the breath lengthen. This handing over is not magical. It is a simple motion of trust. The motion trains the heart. It reteaches the body how to rest. Gratitude fits into this light too. Just a single thing will do: warm hand, acquied mail, a neighbor's small courtesy. Name it in the mind and let the light linger on it. Gratitude sits in the glow like a small coin. It brightens the light and makes the shadows less formidable. As the room grows heavier with sleep, picture the light taking a last steady sweep around the space. It touches the pillow, the bedside book, the small shoe by the chair. Nothing is overlooked. Nothing is threatened by being seen. The watching is protective. The watching is kind. I do not promise the light will remove every worry overnight. I promise it will be present. Presence changes what sleep can accomplish. Worries kept in the dark often swell. Worries touched by steady light often shrink to the size of a task rather than the shape of a fate. Let the lamp do its soft work tonight. I close with a short practice of breathing and vision. Breathe in 3, Pause. 2. Breathe out. 6. With each round, imagine the inner lamp filling the chest, a fraction more. Let the breath be the way the light breathes with you. When eyes finally close, let the last image be a small, steady glow at the bedside. Let that glow keep watch until morning. A simple blessing settles into the hush. May this light sit near you through the night. May it calm the corners where worry gathers. May it show the next small step and give courage for it. Sleep now under that gentle lamp. Let the light do its slow work of making paths clear. I will be here again with the book and a quiet voice when the hour returns. For now, rest in the light that keeps watch and guides the way. I lift the Bible and let it rest in my lap. The lamp draws a small, warm circle on the page. The room keeps its soft hush. I read the line that has come to rest with me. Fullness of joy is found in the presence of the Lord. I do not make it into a test. I let it be an open invitation. Joy is a quiet thing here. It is not fireworks. It is a glass of water on a hot day. It is the small warmth of a hand in yours. The promise speaks of a fullness that fits the night. It does not demand a performance. It offers a place to rest and remember. Picture one gentle moment of joy. It may be a laugh shared at the kitchen table, a quiet morning where the sun finds the tea and makes the steam glow, a child's small foot stepping back into safety. Name it softly in the mind. Keep the picture small and clear. Let it sit like a small bowl on the bedside table. Place a hand over the sternum. Feel the steady rise and fall beneath the palm. Breathe with me. Inhale for 3 slow counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 5. The longer out-breath lets a small piece of the day loosen. Repeat the cycle twice more. Do not hurry. Let the breath be the guest that brings the memory forward, and the memory be the guest that warms the breath. Now look at the remembered moment through the senses. What did you see? A glint of sun on a spoon. The curve of a smile. Where was the sound? A soft chuckle. The click of a teacup. The hush of someone breathing nearby. Notice a scent that was there. Bread warming. Coffee. Rain on pavement. Place all those small things into the picture. Let them be exact. The mind settles when it can hold a small, particular scene. Joy rests in the body as well. Let the shoulders drop an inch. Soften the jaw. The face can be gentle without meaning to be brave. When the body gives space, the memory moves more fully through the chest. The heartbeat does not have to quicken in anxiety. It can quicken in the simple currency of gladness. I speak quietly now about presence. The presence named in the verse is not a distant theory. It is a steady neighbor who sits without hurry. Imagine that neighbor bringing the bowl of joy into the room and setting it on the table. The bowl is not a trophy. It is something to taste. The presence does not demand explanations. It offers company. It leans in with a patient look. Practice receiving this joy, with the hand still on the chest. Imagine the remembered moment moving from the mind into the warm palm. See it settle there like a small, smooth stone. Feel its weight and its rounding edges. Do not judge the size. Do not measure how much joy you think you ought to have. Receive what is present. Let the stone warm in the hand. Name 3 small things that today, or this week, brought a quiet gladness. Keep each thing short and specific. A cup of tea that did not spill. A phone call that lasted 2 minutes but felt kind. A moment when the sky paused in a color you had forgotten. Say each one in the mind without commentary. Let them sit beside the stone on the table, inside the heart. Joy often arrives like company, rather than a speech. It sits and hums. It does not have to explain itself. Listen to it as if to soft music at the edge of the room. The music may be a remembered tune. It may be the cadence of a voice you trust. Let that sound wash the space between the ribs. Allow the chords to smooth the places that have been taut all day. There is a gentle exercise to let joy sink into the body. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Breathe in 3 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 5. With each in-breath, imagine the remembered moment expanding a little. With each out-breath, imagine the warmth spreading to shoulders, to the hands, down the arms, into the lap. The motion is like pouring a small cup of light into each place where tension sits. Sometimes joy tugs at memory and asks for gratitude. Gratitude is not a list to perform. It is a quiet noticing. Turn attention to one small kindness you receive. Let the mind hold it without explanation. Feel the way the chest softens when the grateful thought comes. Keep the gratitude like a lantern placed near the stone. The lantern does not blind. It makes the nearby things visible and tender. There may be nights when joy is a stranger. That is not a failure. It is a season, even when joy seems absent. Presence can still sit quietly beside the ache, if the remembered moment does not come easily. Picture a seed instead of a stone. The seed is small and patient. Place it in the palm and imagine a single drop of hope falling onto it. The seed need only breathe tonight. It need not produce a full sprout. If tears come while recalling joy, they are not interrupting the practice. Tears can be another language of gladness. They wash what has been raw and make room for warmth. Allow them without shame. Let the hand on the sternum hold steady and trust that the body knows how to heal in ordinary ways. The presence I speak of often looks like ordinary things: a steady hand, a firm light, a giet mel. It is the kind of company that will notice your small habits and learn them. It will know how you like your tea, which corners of the room bring you peace, which chords in a song make your chest unclench. That kind of knowing is itself a form of joy, the familiarity that keeps a life from feeling hollow. Imagine, for a moment, a small garden at the edge of a house. Joy grows there in humble greens. Some plants are bright, some are plain. The gardener does not demand that every plant be a rose. She waters what is tender. She prunes when necessary. She sits with a cup on a weathered bench and watches the gradual work. Your life's joys can be like that garden. They need light and care, and often they grow by slow degrees. Let the breath slow down further if that feels right. Inhale for 3, hold 2, exhale for 6. With each out-breath, imagine any last sharpness in the shoulders dropping away. Picture the chest as a small room where the bowl of joy sits. The lamp of gratitude glows, and the seed of hope waits. The room does not have to be large. It only needs to be hospitable. I am reading to you as a companion at the bedside. I do not have all answers. I have a lamp and a book and a voice. I offer the picture and the invitation. Come into this presence for a while. Sit with the small bowl. Taste one remembered sweetness. Let it become a steady part of the night. If the mind drifts to lists of what remains undone, return it gently to the three small things. Repeat their names in silence. Let them be anchors. Do not scold the mind for wandering. Instead, guide it with a soft hand like a shepherd moves a flock back to pasture. The next small breath becomes the guide. I read a brief line to close the thought in presence. Joy becomes fullness. The sentence breathes into the room without weight. It invites rest. It does not demand immediate fullness. It says that near the steady presence, even small gladness becomes enough for the night. Lay the hand flat now on the closed book. When the image feels settled, the lamp's circle dims a hair. The house keeps its soft sounds. Outside, afar, light blinks. Inside, the remembered moment stays like a small stone, warmed by the palm. Let that be the thing you carry into sleep. A short blessing follows, spoken in a low and calm voice. May the presence you feel tonight bring a quiet fullness to the chest. May remembered joy be a steady lamp beside the bed. May mercy meet the places of weakness and make space for hope. Sleep in that company. I close the Bible slowly. The last movement is careful. The light pulls inward until only a thin ring remains. I will come back again with the book and the soft voice. For now, rest in the small fullness of joy that is found in presence. Let it keep watch through the night. I settle the Bible in my lap and let the lamp find the line I want. The room is quiet. The book breathes softly under my hand. I read slowly so the words can land like small stones. Tonight I hold the thought that what is spoken carries weight. The little phrase from Isaiah says words not only leave, they go and do the work they were meant to do. I do not make this a riddle. I offer it as a steady fact. Spoken truth travels farther than the ear. Listen with me. Put one hand over the chest. Feel the steady rise and fall. Breathe in for 3 easy counts. Hold briefly. Breathe out longer. Let the out-breath be gentle and wide. With each exhale, let a small piece of tension loosen. Imagine a seed in your palm. It is tiny. It fits under the thumb. It looks unimportant at first glance. Yet inside, it has the pattern of a tree. The spoken word is like that seed. The ear receives it. The heart keeps it. In time, the seed wakes and leans toward the light. I do not promise a sudden sprout. Growth is quiet and slow. Sometimes the ground seems hard. Sometimes storms come. Still, the seed remembers how to go on. Roots creep in the dark. Leaves first look like a pale hope. The process is patient. The word spoken over a life works the same way. It shapes quietly, without showiness, until the change is real. Picture next a well-landed sentence as rain. It does not crash like hail. It comes steady and kind. The rain soaks the soil. It finds small cracks. It fills hollows that seemed unreachable. A dry patch softens. A buried seed perks up. The spoken word, when it falls into a listening heart, keeps working. After the lips are still, keep your hand where it is. Notice the warmth on the sternum. Let the breath slow. Inhale in 3. Hold for a whisper. Exhale in 5. Each breath is a small blessing of air. Each is an offering to whatever needs mending tonight. Think of one simple phrase you have heard before that settled you. It need not be a sermon. It can be a single sentence, a friend once said. Let that phrase return gently. Do not unpack it with worry. Let it sit like a small ember. Embers do not blaze, but they keep heat. They keep possibility. Words that are true often do practical work. They make a way to stand where feet had slid. They clear fog, so the next small step becomes visible. They are not frantic fixes. They are steady means. They point, not to immediate mastery, but to a suitable next move. I read aloud, not to instruct like a teacher, but to loosen the tightness that stores in the throat. My voice is low. The sentences fall like soft rains. As I read, imagine the sound sinking into the ribs and pressing a soft cloth to the places that have ached. Sound has a shape. Scripture here takes the shape of a hand that cares. There is a gentle practice to try. Close the eyes if that feels safe. In the imagination, pick one short truth and make it a small object you can hold. It might be the word beloved as a smooth pebble. It might be enough as a small coin. Make it precise and plain. Hold it in the palm of your mind. Now imagine setting that little object on the bedside table of your inner room. See how it sits without fuss. Picture the light of the lamp touching it. It does not have to prove its worth to anyone. The presence of the thing is what matters. Keep breathing slowly as you watch it rest there. The power of the spoken word is not magic that erases the past. It is a steady force that rearranges the heart's furniture. A sentence spoken with compassion can move a couch, open a window, change where the light falls. It does not pound down walls. It opens doors. Doors often lead to other doors. Walk through them one at a time. If worry arises, do not wrestle with it fiercely. Offer it instead a chair by the window. Give it a name with a breath, and then let your attention return to the small object on the table. Naming a worry narrows it. It becomes something you can hold, not a room that swallows you. Speak the words to yourself in the mind. They do not need to be loud. They do not need theatrical movement. A single quiet thought held steady for a few breaths will do more than a torn anxious monologue. The repeated small hearing is like regular watering. The plant of trust responds. The word also gives shape to expectation. When words of care are spoken over a life, the heart learns a new grammar. It begins to expect steadiness, not drama. It learns that care is a rule, not an exception. This learning is slow. It is like training the eye to see a landscape in daylight instead of in shadows. Consider another image. A seamstress works slowly, stitch by stitch. Each stitch by itself is tiny and ordinary. The assembly of stitches holds a garment together. So it is with repeated truths. Each hearing is a stitch. Over seasons of hearing and receiving, the garment grows and becomes a covering that keeps you warm. Let me guide a short ritual. With eyes closed, bring one short sentence of scripture to mind in a paraphrase that feels like comfort. Place it into the palm of the left hand in the imagination. Imagine the hand closing slightly until the phrase feels safe. Hold it for 3 breaths. Breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. Let the sentence sink into the skin of the palm, into the muscles beneath. When you open your hand, do not expect fireworks. Look for a small change. The shoulders might drop. The jaw may unclench a little. The chest could feel a millimeter of ease. These tiny measures are the grain of renewal. They add up. They are the work of the word in time. There is a sorrow in thinking words are only sound. They are more like seed and tool and lamp. They are also instruments of honesty. A kind truth named aloud may remove a small splinter of shame from the foot of the heart. It does not pretend the wound was nothing. It simply helps the healing start. If the mind eyes a long list of needs repairs, apologies, restorations, choose one small item. Make it the size of a pebble in imagination. Bring the pebble to the bedside table inside. Set it beside the little phrase you planted earlier. The 2 objects together show a simple law. You cannot fix everything at once. But you can tend one small thing tonight. The spoken word also carries promise. When words that are sure are spoken, they do not return empty. They make a pathway. Sometimes that pathway becomes visible quickly. Often it does not. Yet the presence of the pathway is enough to keep walking. I do not ask for explanations or miracles. I offer practice. Hold a truth. Repeat a breath. Name one small next step. Perhaps it is a brief kindness you can give tomorrow morning. Perhaps it is a phone call you will make. Perhaps it is choosing one quiet minute in the afternoon to remember the seeded phrase. Small acts make the soil ready. If fatigue presses, rest in the fact that words spoken over you continue their work, even when you sleep. Sleep is not absence. It is another kind of listening. The mind and body process in quiet ways. Let the truth planted in the heart do its slow business, while the body repairs. Trust that the word is not idle when the eyes are closed. I read again, softly, keeping the cadence slow. The voice is a companion to the breath. Let it be a small presence that matches the lamp at the bedside. The book sits open. The pages are familiar. The sentences I lift do not demand heavy answers. They ask for a listening heart. Before I close, place both hands over the chest if that feels okay. Feel the warmth there, in silence. Let a single phrase re-enter the mind short. Steady. Let it rest like a small stone. Breathe it in with 3 counts. Hold a whisper. Breathe out for 5. Trust that the little stone will do what stones do. It will anchor. It will not bark like a dog. It will be steady. I leave a blessing in the hush may words you hear tonight. Plant deep. May they grow in patient ways. May the truth spoken over you find the soil of your heart and do its quiet work. Sleep, knowing that what is spoken does not return empty. It works on what it touches. I close the book with a slow motion. The lamp lowers to a gentler circle. The house keeps its hush. Outside, the night carries its steady sounds. Inside, the breath grows even. The seed remains in the palm of the mind. The lamp leans just a little longer on the bedside table. I will come back with this book and a low voice. For now, rest in the quiet work of words, and let sleep receive what has been spoken. I set the Bible on my knee and let the lamp make a small pool of light. The page lies open like a quiet invitation. My voice stays soft and slow. Tonight I keep one clear movement turning toward gratitude. Gratitude is a small habit. It does not have to be loud. It can be a breath offered with care. I do not make a list that must be perfect. I invite simply noticing. The day has small gifts. Name 3 of them in the mind. Keep each one modest and specific. Place a hand over the chest. Feel the warmth there. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Hold for a brief beat. Breathe out for 5. Let the exhale be a little longer than the in-breath. With each round, the body learns to rest inside the act of thanks. I speak a line of scripture in paraphrase, not to debate, but to remind. The words point to a heart that remembers and gives thanks. God's care threads through small things. It appears in the morning's quiet and in the evening's little mercies. The presence is steady. It guides in a soft way. Picture the day as a woven cloth. Each hour is a thread. Some threads are bright. Some threads are frayed. Together they make a tapestry that no eye sees at once. Lay your hand on that cloth in the mind. Feel its weight. Notice the colors you can name. Give thanks for one bright thread. Give thanks for one mended place. Think of a small bread broken at a table. One loaf feeds more than hunger. It carries attention and warmth. A neighbor shares it. A friend passes it. The act of passing the bread is one way grace moves. Give thanks for a single shared slice. Let that thanks be a quiet knot tied on the day's thread. If sorrow sits near the gratitude, do not push it away. Gratitude does not erase pain. It places a lamp beside it. The lamp does not blind. It clarifies. It shows that even amid ache, small goodness exists. Name one thing that was gentle to you today. No need to make it heroic. A warm drink. A kind word. A brief silence offered at the right hour. These are enough. I guide a brief practice. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture 3 small items on a low table in front of you. Each object is one thing you are thankful for today. Make them plain and real. A coin that glints. A folded letter. A tiny stone warmed by the sun. Hold each image for a breath. Let the breath carry a short word of thanks. Do not hurry. The motion is simple name. Feel. Thank. Now imagine the presence of God as a gentle hand near the table. That hand gathers each small item with care. It does not tally merits. It simply receives. The receiving is itself a grace. When something is taken into a steady hand, it no longer has to be clutched. The shoulders can ease. The jaw can unclench. Let the hand hold what you hand over. Gratitude also trains the eyes. When practiced, the gaze finds small mercies more easily. It picks out the moments that sustain. It notices a soft light on a kitchen counter. It remembers a brief laughter shared over an ordinary joke. Gratitude does not demand abundance. It delights in particulars. Place both hands lightly on the lap. Now, take one slow breath in 3 counts. Hold 2. Breathe out. 6. Let the exhale carry a small word, thank you, though not loud. The mind can hold that word like a pebble. Keep it in the palm for a moment. Feel its texture. The simple phrase has a shape. It fits the mouth and the chest. I read a short paraphrase from the page. The words speak of giving thanks in all circumstances. They do not mean pretending. They mean remembering that presence walks with the small and the great. Grace is not absent in the low places. Love does not leave in the dark. It leans in. Imagine the day's blessings as tiny lights set along a path. Some lights are larger. Some are faint. Walk mentally along that path and count 3 lights. Each one is a gift. Stop at each light and name what it warmed. Let the gratitude be the act of pausing there. The pauses matter. They collect the scattered pieces of the day into something held. If a worry pushes forward, do not wrestle it into silence. Give it a small shelf and set one of your named lights beside it. That is enough to reduce its sharpness. The light does not banish the worry. It makes the worry a part of a room rather than the whole house. Gratitude can be a tiny prayer. It does not need ceremony. It can be a whisper in the mind. Thank you for the cup of tea. Thank you for the brief peace. Thank you for a safe step today. Let these whispers be real offerings, not performances. The presence that receives is attentive and kind. Think of mercy as the quiet seamstress who stitches the day's edges. Gratitude lays out the pieces. Mercy sews them with care. Both are present in each small act of remembering. Give thanks for one stitch that came from mercy today. Maybe a sentence that soothed. Maybe a moment of forgiveness accepted. Let the memory sit like a warm patch. A small exercise helps to close with eyes still closed. Picture a book on a bedside table. Open it to a blank page. On that page, place the 3 small things you named. See them as words written down. Under each one, write 1 line of thanks. The lines are simple. A name, a short verb, a sigh. The page fills slowly. Let the page rest. Now, it is kept. Now, fold the page in half and tuck it into the Bible where it will not be lost. Imagine the fold as a promise. The day's tiny mercies are not discarded. They are kept within the larger story of care. The act of tucking is a habit of trust. It shows that small things matter enough to be remembered. Place your hand on the closed book for a moment. Feel its cover beneath the palm. Feel the steadiness of the material. The book does not disappear when the lamp goes down. Its words continue to shape the night. The practice of giving thanks becomes a small engine that powers restful sleep. I offer a soft prayer now. The voice is low. I do not argue or dissect. I simply thank for the simple gifts, for a warm roof, for one kind person who crossed the path, for bread and water, for a moment of laughter, for hands that held when they were needed. I acknowledge the presence that walks beside all these things. The prayer names grace and asks only that the heart learn to keep noticing. If the night brings heaviness, remember that gratitude is not a quick cure. It is a steady practice. Keep returning to the small items you named. Repeat the short word of thanks. Let the repetition become a balm. The mind will tire of arguing and will rest in the rhythm. Imagine the presence of God not as a distant judge, but as a companion who hands you a small lantern. The lantern will not reveal everything at once. It will show enough for the next step. Hold that lantern for tonight. Let it be the light that keeps your path soft and visible. Walk slowly with it toward sleep. I pause and let the room breathe. The lamp hums its steady light. The Bible lies open and warm. Outside, the world keeps its low music. Inside, the act of thanks forms a small circle that holds what is true and tender. Before I close this part, I invite one last quiet act. Think of one person who gave you a gift today. However slight, send them a silent blessing. Imagine their face and let a small prayer rest on it. May you be kept and warm. Blessing others widens the circle of gratitude and lets it return to you in new forms. This moment of thanks ends on purpose. It does not solve everything. It gathers what can be gathered and hands it into care. Tomorrow will bring new threads to the cloth. Tonight, the practice of naming and giving thanks makes the bed of rest softer. I close the book slowly. The lamp dims a little. My voice tucks the last words into the dark. A short blessing stays in the air. May gratitude keep a small lamp in your chest. May the presence that guides with grace and love be felt in each quiet moment. Sleep in that company. I will come back with the pages and a soft voice for the final part. For now, rest in thanks. The lamp is low. The Bible rests closed on my knee. Pages cool under my palm. I breathe with the hush of the room. Tonight, I sit with one final thought and let it settle like a soft cloth over the day. As you drift into sleep, know that God's peace surrounds you. His love envelopes you, and His truth guards you. Hear the words not as a lecture, but as a gentle hand laid on the shoulder. Let them arrive slowly. Let them be simple. Let them rest. I picture the peace as a wide, quiet ring of air. It moves around the body like a calm tide. It does not batter the shore. It lays itself along the edges where the muscles tighten. Each breath presses that circle a little closer. With the palm over the heart, feel the circle's nearness. It is steady. It makes space. Love comes next. Not as heat that burns, but as a soft wrap. Imagine a quilt made from many small patches. Each patch holds a story. The quilt is large enough to fold around the shoulders and the knees. It is heavy where weight is needed, and light where the skin needs to breathe. Let that texture be real in the mind. Place the edges around the neck and feel how the fabric moves with the chest as it rises and falls. Truth keeps watch like a small lantern on a wide table. The lantern's glass is clear and kind. It does not blind. It shows the real shape of what is near. when fear looks larger than it is. The lantern names the edges and makes the step forward visible. Truth does not shout. It marks the path and holds it steady. Breathe in with me. Count 3 slow beats. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Make the out-breath a little longer than the in-breath. Let each exhale be a small returning. Each inhale brings in the calm. Continue this pattern quietly. Let the breath be the minor music of the room. Now, put one hand over the sternum and the other over the belly. Feel the warmth of your skin. Notice the rise and fall beneath the hands. Scan the shoulders. Soften the jaw. Allow the tongue to rest behind the teeth. Let the muscles that have held the day loosen in small degrees. There is no hurry to relax. Small shifts are enough. I speak this as one who sits nearby, reading through the pages, holding a lamp. The voice is not a command. It is company. If the eyes close, that is good. If the mind drifts, that is fine. The presence I name is patient with drifting. Think of a guard who is not a sentinel armed and stern, but a quiet companion by the gate. He knows the night sounds. He does not panic at every rustle. He listens, steady and attentive. When the wind presses at the hinges, he moves to calm them. When a soft foot meets the path, he nods and lets the step pass. The guarding of truth looks like that, watchful, wise, and gentle. Allow one small memory of kindness to come forward. It may be a neighbor's brief help, a kind word on a difficult morning, a small bowl of soup in a quiet hour. Hold that one moment as a bright pebble in the palm of the mind. Turn the pebble and notice its color and weight. Let gratitude warm the chest a little. If sorrow rises, do not push it away. Treat sorrow as you would a tired guest. Offer a chair and a cup. Name the sorrow with one word. Then place it gently on a low table. It does not need to be hidden. It needs to be seen and held in the light of the lantern. In that holding, the sharpest edges often dull. I fold a finger over the cover of the Bible and imagine tucking the day into a small box. The box is not a refusal of reality. It is a promise that the day's work can pause. Night is not a failure of effort. It is the time when care moves in different ways, when healing is made by rest rather than by motion. Listen to the slow rhythm of the breath. With each inhale, gather one small hope. It can be plain, the sound of rain, a warm blanket, a friend's brief laugh. Let the hope be concrete. With each exhale, let go of one small worry. Offer it in the mind and watch it float away like a leaf on a slow river. The river does not hurry. It keeps moving, carrying what is given. There is a gentle promise here. What you hand over for the night is not abandoned. It is placed in better keeping. The hands that receive are steady. They hold what you give without scoring or weighing. Trust the small action of letting go. Trust the simple motion of setting something down. If doubts press and demand reasons, do not battle them now. Instead, give them a seat at the corner of the room. Notice their shape. Name their tone. Then return your attention to the lantern. to the quilt, to the ring of air. The practice is not to silence the mind by force. It is to practice bringing it back, again and again, like a well-loved dog who wanders at the edge of the field and then comes back to the feet. I offer a short, humble prayer here, not as a ritual, but as a small request. Ask for calm breath, for a quiet heart, and for gentleness in waking. Ask that mercy find the places that hurt. Ask that truth stand like a friendly guide in the dark. Say the request in one brief sentence in your mind, and then let it rest. Imagine morning like a slow watercolor that will come in its own time. It is not rushed by the night. It arrives by degrees. For now, the task is simple sleep enough to let the body mend. Dream lightly. Let the small repairs of rest begin. In the morning, actions resume. For tonight, allow being to have its way. I promise to keep returning with the book and the lamp. There will be more nights and more small practices. The same slow work will continue breathing, naming, handing over, receiving. The voice will be here again, quiet and steady. The pages will open, and the lamp will make its small circle of light. Before I close the cover, feel the warmth of the room one last time. Notice the faint sound from outside wheels on a distant road. A bird that shifts its place. These small noises are part of the company. They do not steal peace. They weave into it like threads in a quilt. Let the plain music of the night be heard as friendly rather than alarming. Place your hand over the lamp of the chest again. Breathe in 3 counts. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. With the final exhale, imagine the ring of air tightening comfortably, the quilt drawing up, the lantern's glow steady at the edge of sleep. You are not alone in these motions. You are held. A blessing now. Given simply may the peace that surrounds you be gentle and deep. May the love that envelops you be warm and sure. May the truth that guards you rest like a steady light beside your bed. May the night bring repair, and may the morning find you softened and ready. Rest well. Dear friends, in that unwavering truth and grace, I close the book slowly. The lamp dims to a thin circle. My voice lowers to almost nothing. Outside, the world keeps its muted rhythm. Inside, breath finds a wider pace. The hands that have carried the day let themselves go. Sleep comes by degrees. Let it arrive a step at a time. I will be here again with the book, the lamp, and a low voice. For now, rest in the company of the peace, the love, and the truth that will keep watch. Good night.